Sometimes a mistake I see entrepreneurs make is you say, so what's your business? What do you do? And they give you the most complicated answer I've ever heard in a million years.
Yeah.
And you see people like, okay, cool. They're not contemptuous of you. They don't understand. And they're contemptuous of that.
Right.
So if you're introducing yourself, you're explaining something, you're like, gosh, Vanessa, I'm seeing this contempt everywhere. You are overcomplicating it. You need to go for clarity over confusion. People should be able to very quickly understand what you do and who you are and what you want from them.
So obviously I love creating content. We post like 50 pieces of it across all my platforms. And if you've ever created content, you know the uphill battle it can be to ideate, write, produce, film, video, and then you have to edit it all. So one of my favorite tools to use for this is Riverside. You've probably heard about it before, but I don't think people realize that it's revolutionized the podcast space by allowing creators all over the world to do the recording in 4K, regardless of internet speed. But they've just released an update that I think any creator is gonna love. So along with the high quality video and audio that they've kind of become known for, you can have editing software so you can edit any video content directly in Riverside. If your team's a little bit more bougie like mine and wants to record the video themselves, and then you can upload it to Riverside so you can use their amazing AI tools afterwards. It can transcribe your video, add customizable caption, analyze that transcript to cut out any dead space in the video. And my favorite part, they have this AI editor feature that will pull short form from clips from my content so we can squeeze all the juice of it out from the many hours it takes to create it. If you think time is money like I do, then Riverside has given me and my team back lots of time, aka money. So I love these guys. And because I love you, I got you guys a deal. So try Riverside for yourself with the link in this episode's description. You can sign up for free using the link and discount code Cody at checkout for a discount on any paid plan. Welcome back to the Big Deal Podcast. I'm Codie Sanchez, and this podcast is for those of you who don't just want to be rich, but free and are willing to do what it takes to get there. Okay, this week we have on somebody that I go to every time I am struggling with how do I communicate with somebody, with why isn't my team doing what I want it to do, with why can't I get my husband to do what I want him to do. And her name is Vanessa Van Edwards. You guys might know her because she has one of the most popular TED Talks of all time on communication and the cues we give with our body that tell people things without us even moving our mouth. She runs something called Science of People, which is a large psychology-based business on how can we use behavioral cues in order for us to get what we want out of life, to live better lives, to be more successful. She also is a best-selling author ×2, frequently on Good Morning America, CNBC, MSNBC. You guys are kind of in for a treat because she has only done 2 podcasts this year, Mel Robbins and now mine. What I love about Vanessa is she talks about things that are applicable to our everyday lives that we can take away and take real action on, but all backed by science. And so she is like a walking encyclopedia of studies and experiments that you can then take and apply to your business. So in this episode today, we go over how do you pitch somebody something so that they will buy it. We talk about how in your business do you communicate in meetings that is probably making people not like you and you to be less successful. We talk about how to communicate with members of the opposite sex to actually figure out if they're into you or going to be into you and vice versa. We also talk about how do you run a business or be successful in business if you're an introvert or if you don't really like people. And one of my favorite ones, how do you tell people no but get them to thank you? So I think you guys are really going to like this episode. Let's dive right into a story that kind of blew my mind when Vanessa started. We got to start with one of my favorite stories. Shark Tank, Ring, I'll Say No More.
Okay. Ring, billion-dollar company now, was a great idea. Video doorbell. Okay, Jamie Siminoff has this idea. He has lots of growth, lots of traction. He goes on Shark Tank. You think, no-brainer. He enters the tank. He does a pitch. Not a good one. But does a pitch, shows revenue numbers, has really promising numbers, and he doesn't get a deal. Months later, he gets an investment from Shaq, Richard Branson, but he failed in Shark Tank. And it is the perfect example, and it was sobering for me. This was back in 2012, 2013, where he had a great idea, literally $1 million idea, but he didn't know how to pitch it, and it failed. And that is the problem, is I think a lot of business owners have amazing ideas. Doesn't matter how good your idea is, if you don't know how to pitch it, it will not sell.
Let's watch a second of this clip.
Who's there? It's Jamie. Here to pitch?
Who?
It's Jamie.
Come in.
Sharks. Wouldn't it have been nice to know who was behind the door before you let me in? With my product, you can.
What do you take away from this? What are the learning lessons so that we can only be the Ring founder after he became a billionaire, not during Shark Tank?
Yes. Okay, so here's a big mistake that people make when they're pitching on stage, pitching on a video call, pitching to an investor, is they prep their pitch and not their first impression. But people decide how smart you are, how trustworthy you are, and if they're gonna like your idea when they first see you. That is even before your opening line. And so what I learned in that was that his first impression was one of the worst first impressions I've ever seen. So what he did is he was trying to be clever. Is he came in and he knocked on the door of the Shark Tank. And they said, "Who's there?" And he said, "It's Jamie, here to pitch an idea." And he asked his own name. In that moment, I think he lost the deal. The reason for this is because an accidental question inflection, when you accidentally ask your name or your number or your statement, people question you. And so I think in his opening line, and this is a mistake people make all the time, is they ask their name or they ask their number and you're begging people to negotiate with you. I do tons of sales trainings, right? And here's what I hear all the time. "We'd love to have your business, we'd love to work with you, and the price of that will be $5,000. You ask your number, you're telling people, I don't really believe this number and neither should you. Those people have the lowest close rates, the biggest pushback, and also people lack confidence in you. So I think that the first impressions was the really big one there is it's before you even open your mouth or your very first line is actually gonna set you up for an entire pitch.
Fascinating. So what should it sound like?
Okay, so instead you want to use what's called the downward inflection. And you want to do this, it's much more authoritative, is when we're speaking as humans. Well, can I share a really good study? Just like a juicy study. Okay, so most people when they think about how to pitch, they think about the words they use, maybe what they're wearing or their body language. But actually our vocal power is a secret way that we can show confidence. And here's the study. They brought doctors into their recording studio and they had them record 10-second voice tone clips like this. "Hi, my name is Dr. Edwards. I specialize in oncology and I work at Children's Presbyterian Hospital." They took these clips and they warbled the words. So you could hear the pitch, the volume, the pace, the cadence, but not the actual words being said. Then they asked participants to listen to these clips and the gobbledygook sounded like, I worked really hard on practicing.
Nailed it.
Nailed it. Yeah. Yes, thank you. So they listened to these clips and they said, how smart is this person? Do you like this person? The doctors who had the lowest ratings in warmth and competence had the highest rate of malpractice lawsuits.
Whoa.
Which means that when you first say, "Hey, my name is Vanessa," how you say that is, right then people are deciding how smart and how trustworthy you are. And so when we're talking about vocal power, the biggest mistake that doctors made is they ask their names. They said, "Hi, my name is Dr. Edwards. I specialize in oncology. I work at Children's Presbyterian Hospital." What would have been better is going on the downward inflection. So that sounds like this. "Hi, my name is Dr. Edwards. I specialize in oncology. I work at Children's Presbyterian Hospital."
Oh yeah, I believe
You, oh my gosh, right?
Yes.
Like, even I would hire me, and I'm not a doctor, you know? Someone who was really good at this, Barack Obama. Barack Obama, there is a cadence he has to his voice, and I do terrible impressions. I will try it for you, but I do terrible impressions. He used to go down, or he still goes down at the end of his sentences, which makes you sit up and listen. So this is my really bad Barack Obama impression, okay? Right, here it goes. I'm gonna talk about nothing. "In our country today, we really have to work on something serious. If we don't work on this problem, we are going to have a major challenge." Right? Like he's slinging his words down at you. And as humans, we think, whoa, if he's going that low and he's telling us what to do, it better be real.
Interesting.
And so it almost doesn't even matter what the content is, but we hear that vocal tone. So when you're practicing your pitches, practice stating your name, practice stating your numbers, and whatever question makes you nervous, like when an investor's like, "So what's the competition in the market?" Do not ask, tell.
Fascinating. Do you use this also in interpersonal relations, not just pitches? Like what is
Constantly.
what other scenarios would you use this in? Is this how you communicate with your team and also how you communicate with your husband?
Yeah, so luckily I think about all these cues as a science. And they are happening all the time. I think there are about 96 cues that people choose from. Like they actually can pick these out and use them in interpersonal relationships. And it happens down to asking your husband where he wants to go to dinner. It comes down to telling your kids what you want them to do. I notice that parents who have kids who don't listen as much are asking what they want them to do instead of saying what they want them to do. So,
Gosh, you're right.
So this is an assertiveness issue, right? When we talk about assertiveness in the workplace, at home, in interpersonal relationships, if you state your needs, people are much more likely to listen to them. And so it is happening all the time. But it's not just vocal power, right? It's also how we carry ourselves, the kinds of words we use. In fact, the kinds of words we use change how people treat us. For example, there was a study, I love this study. They wanted to know if a single word could change the way people acted. They brought them into the lab, split them into 2 groups. One group was told, today you're going to play the Wall Street game. The second group was told, today you're going to play the community game. The trick was the games were the same. They wanted to know if that one single word switch would change how they interacted. Everyone who was told they were playing the Wall Street game shared an average of 1/3 of their profits. People who were told they were playing the community game shared 2/3 of their profits. That means that when we hear words like community, we are primed to actually act more collaboratively, to actually act more communally. When we are primed to act in a competitive way, like Wall Street, we actually are less generous, but more competitive. So the words you're using with your kids, with your spouses, with your friends, on your team, they are changing things. The biggest mistake I see is bosses send out meeting, video call, one-on-one. What a missed opportunity. If you are doing that, you are blending in. I open my calendar multiple times a day. Call it what you want them to do in that meeting. You want a strategic meeting? Call it strategic goal-setting meeting. Collaboration team session. Accountability call. That way, every single time someone opens their calendar, they're literally being primed on how they should act and behave in that moment.
That's such good advice. I'm totally going to steal that.
Yes.
You know, it's interesting because I was at an event the other day. Well, I was actually at church. And and what I thought was fascinating is I went to 2 different churches over the course of 2 weeks because we're looking for a church here in Austin that I want to be a part of. You saw in the group text. And one of the ones I went to blew me away because of their priming. So they opened it up and they talked about how at this church, they were a community, so they used that word, one. Then they said, and at this community, the job is not for the church and the book to serve you. It is for you to serve the book and the church.
Yes.
That in fact, if you want to become a better person, and if you want to achieve more of your goals and what you want out of life, that means you have to give first. And so it was funny because I was listening to it. I was like, God, these chairs are sort of uncomfortable. You know, I was like, gosh, yeah, I'm like the lighting, this could be like a better setup. I'm critiquing what's happening in church, which is totally not normal. And, but as I'm doing that, and he says, if there is something that you want differently, if there is something that you think should change, who should be the person to change it? If not you, then who? Who should be the person to change it? And everyone is like, me. And I was like, oh, that's so good. Because what does that do? The second you in your event, in your company, then feel like there's something that needs to change, your employees will feel like they're the ones that can actually help you make the change.
And that was a purposeful introduction. They thought and they said, what purpose are we going to give everyone? Because we are infectious, right? We are emotionally contagious as humans. And so you have to think, if I'm emotionally contagious, what contagion do I want to spread? Do I want to spread influence, power, persuasion, kindness, wealth, happiness? What are those things? You have to be purposeful. They were planning on what those words were going to be when they first got there. Same thing as your team meetings. What is the one word goal?
Yeah.
Is it collaboration or is it get it done? Right? When you are starting a team call, here's my least favorite thing. People get on a team call and they go, well, we'll get started in a few. We'll let everyone log in. No, that is a wasted opportunity, and it means you're not being purposeful. No, your meetings start the moment you come on, if you're a boss, and they start with your intention for the meeting. All right, everyone, today we're going to do a big review, and I want to get really clear on some goals. But first, I want to start with tell me something good. Every team call I do, everyone on the team, because we're all remote, 2 of us are in Austin, we say, share something good. Because I noticed that we were starting accidentally on the negative. I think this is also, if you're a leader, we can do good by being good communicators. And so if you are starting your team calls with, the traffic, the numbers, the problems, so stressed, so busy, so hectic, what a scarcity mindset that is, and you are contagious. You say you're stressed, you just infected your whole team with stress, because moods usually go from the top down. So I would rather you be positively contagious. That sets up such a good culture. It sets up such good loyalty. So I noticed my team calls were like negative, like accidentally so. So I was like, no, we are changing this. So everyone shares something good. You know what my team member told me? She said, every Tuesday we have our team call. And on Monday, I do more good things.
So that you have.
So she has something to share on Tuesdays. And so I think that part of this is about being more charismatic and having more influence and pitching your ideas. But part of it is also, let's spread more good. Like, let's be positively contagious. And that means being purposeful. That means no more accidental openers. Sorry, I'm late. It's been so busy. Never ask someone.
Explain what an accidental opener is, because that is a beautiful line. I think doing an accidental opener is the worst way for a leader to lead.
Yes. Okay, accidental openers happen when you have whatever's the top of your mind and it comes out of your mouth and you've just changed the nature of the entire communication or interaction, right? So this is the question that, can we please go on a diet? No more. Been busy? Is it your busy season? Oh man, was that bad thing that happened last month still happening? Right? You are literally juicing bad. Right? So I like purposeful openers, right? So is create a norm in your team where you're adding a purposeful open that people can prepare for that also respects your introverts. So I love my extroverted leaders, but extroverted leaders sometimes can actually turn off employees and lose them if they push them out of their introvert boundaries. So if you're like, we're going to do a new icebreaker every single week, for an introvert, they're like, please, no. Right? So you have a norm on the team that we talk about something good, or we share something we've learned, or we do a goal review. Okay. Next is in your interpersonal in relationships is level up by asking better questions. You want to literally juice dopamine. Look, dopamine does a lot of things in our body. I will not overcomplicate it, but it is the chemical of motivation. When someone has dopamine coursing through their bodies, they are motivated to talk, open up, say yes, invest, do new things, say new things. It's the chemical of excitement. We can juice it with our questions. And an accidental opener misses dopamine opportunities. So here's my favorite dopamine opener. Working on anything exciting these days?
Yeah.
Please stop asking people what they do. I think when you ask someone, what do you do? First of all, it's a social script. You just told their brain, go on autopilot. I'm going to ask the same boring questions as I always ask. And second, if someone is not defined by what they do, they are answering on autopilot, and then they have no dopamine at all, right? Their brain is off. They're thinking about their to-do list. If you ask someone, working on anything exciting these days, you are giving them such a beautiful contagion, which is they get to think through their head, exciting, 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 exciting. That is literally juicing dopamine from excitement in their own life. And it gives them permission to tell you what they want to tell you.
It's really good. Yeah, in a perfect world, too, then you never have somebody say, oh, I'm just a mom right now.
That's it.
I'm just, which is also one of my pet peeves. I'm like, gosh, but that is my fault that I opened up the question in a way that made them go automatically to a just answer.
I think it's our fault.
Yeah.
I think we're in charge of how people treat us. You cue people to how you want to be treated. And that's with the kinds of questions you ask, the kinds of words you use, how you're holding your body language, and how you're using your voice. So if you want to be treated with more respect, more likability, you got to spread it.
Let's talk about that. If you want to be treated with more respect, what do you do from a body language perspective?
Okay, so respect is a good one. So research has shown that 82% of our impressions of people are based on two traits: warmth and competence. It's not how attractive you are, it's not how tall you are, it's not how rich you are, it's not how successful you are. It's literally how fast can you signal, I'm a friend, trust, and you can rely on me, competence. And so from a body language perspective, the faster you can signal those two things, the moment you hop on screen, the moment you get on a video, the moment you enter a room, the more people like you and respect you.
Interesting.
And so it is a balance. So what I like to think about is like a recipe. Is there are warmth nonverbal cues and there are competent nonverbal cues. So warm cues, these make sense, right? Smiling, authentic smiling, a warm cue. You're nodding. Nodding is a warmth cue, right? When you do a triple nod, research shows that I will speak 67% longer. So when you're
just going, oh, I got to start adding all
but not bobbleheading.
Which is this?
No.
Oh, right.
Right.
Too much.
Well, also that's also not good, right?
Well, let's hear it
It's too much. So if you do a slow triple nod, here I'll demo it for you.
Okay.
The other person speaks 67% longer. So this is a
Stop. Okay.
right? That is a nonverbal ... You're telling the other person, I hear you, I see you, tell me more. Now, the pace of this is also important. So you only want to do 3 and pause. And you want to do them slowly. So slow is engaged and curious. Tell me more, tell me more, tell me more. Fast is impatience. So a little secret here is if you want someone to like wrap it up or speed it up, not that you ever would, you can go, It's literally a signal for them to stop talking. So warmth cues, smiling, nodding, a head tilt. So watch the difference between a still face and a head tilt. So if I were to say, I have some news, a head tilt immediately softens you. It immediately adds more warmth. That's a small warmth cue. Competence cues, there's like 15 of them, but those are the easy ones. The competence cues, some of my favorites are like a steeple, right? So even this is just more wise and competent if it feels natural to you. Like some people look like don't be Mr. Burns, you know, like, right? So like you gotta kind of be careful. This is on my book cover and you love it, I know.
I do love your book cover.
Right? But I'm not, so you have to be careful with this one, but that's a high competence cue.
No, but because your book cover, you've got the crossed legs, so it's like you're dainty, but you're also smart.
Dainty.
Yeah, because you cross your ankles.
Warm.
I feel like I always think dainty.
Warm. Dainty, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Take it.
It's a great book, by the way. The book's name is Cues, to give you a little plug.
Yes,
but all of this is in there.
So the cover is literally a perfect balance of warmth and competence, as are most of my social media posts. So if you look at my Instagram grid, it's warm, competent, warm, competent. Maybe it'll be warm, warm, competent, competent. We'll have a study post, and then a post of me being silly. And then a funny meme, and then a really hard-hitting study. So even in your business, like, can I give a business example?
Please.
Okay, so Casper Mattresses is an interesting one. Like, they kind of took the mattress market by storm. And they could have had better mattresses, sure, but their marketing was a perfect blend of warmth and competence. On their webpage, they would have, like, kids bouncing on clouds. And they would have our research scientists in the Casper lab, and it was a whole science section. And they would have, like, a quote from Vogue about, like, the best night's sleep ever. And then they would have someone in a lab coat, like testing a mattress.
Right.
It literally, you could count the warmth and competence, and that for a human, when they are looking for trust, reliability is immediately helpful. We can do the same thing with our words. So, for example, I love to guess someone's warmth and competence based on their email sent folder. So a challenge for you is...
Oh, no.
Oh, no. All right, we're going to look at Codie's email sent folder. So you can go into their email sent folder, and I count up the warm words and the competent words. Warm words are words that trigger oxytocin, that makes us feel collaborative. So they're words like best, both, happy, together, cheers, collaborate, team. Words that are competent make us want to get it done. They're words like motivation, efficient, power through, goal, mastery, achieve. So I can tell you how your team rates you on warmth and competence based on your email sent folder. Emojis are warm. Exclamation points are warm. Data, charts, graphs, numbers are competent. And so when you're writing important emails, not all the emails, there should be a blend of both warmth and competence. Your LinkedIn profile should be a blend of warmth and competence. Your landing pages should be a blend of warmth and competence.
I think I over-index on the competence.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although I think it's really interesting because you talked from a social perspective. We've noticed that lately too, that I am so high on the indexing for competence, or what Chris Voss would call assertive too, that when people meet me to interview me, I had two, well, actually I think Chloe said it to me. She met me and she was like, gosh, you're really nice and warm and kind. And I was like, yes. But
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a common thing that because my content is very serious.
Yes. The same thing I was told, you're so much nicer than you look.
Yeah. I get that too.
Why do you think I wear pink?
It's actually very smart.
You have to balance. And so this is what's really important is Oprah Winfrey is a good example of this. So Oprah Winfrey has a very, very high balance of warmth and competence. And we like people who have high of both, right? But she's as a dial, right? It's like a thermostat. Right? Like, we like it between 68 and 72. I don't want you to dial all the way, but like when Oprah Winfrey is with like a victim, she is crying with them, she is touching them, she's leaning in. Those are all warmth cues. When she's with like a political commentator, she changes. Her cues are much more competent. She's quieter. She's less facially expressive. She makes more eye contact. She's still with her body. She has less gestures. Those are all competent gestures. So you can also dial, and this is what I think the most advanced leaders do, and Jamie Siminoff learned to do this, going back to Ring. He learned to do this. I think that was a bad pitch in Shark Tank, which, by the way, it's not obviously bad. Like, if you were to go watch the pitch, you would be like, I don't know what happened, but something happened.
Yeah.
I think he learned how to pitch with both warmth and competence, as anyone can. Look at your slide deck, right? In your slide deck, it should not be all numbers and competence. In fact, the research says, and this is a quote, Competence without warmth leaves people feeling suspicious. People will be suspicious of your ideas and your numbers if you do not know how to add warmth cues. And that is what you are struggling with, is you know instinctively, if I come across as too hard or too competent, people are suspicious of me, and they are. And that is because we have to have a balance of both.
Yeah, it goes to trustworthiness. Yeah, a lot of our presentations, we use memes because memes are an easy way to transfer somebody else's warmth to you.
Exactly
You know,
right.
I'm not the greatest joke teller of all time.
You're good, you're funny.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. But then when I can add somebody else's meme in there, then it softens up sort of the hard blows of business that are realities.
Okay, like let's get practical, right?
Yeah.
So like in your presentation, I like to switch a warmth something into your presentation like every 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So this is very practical. So competence in a presentation, data, charts, graphs, research, science, study. Warmth, memes, gifs, demos, fuzzy wuzzy social proof, personal stories,
Quotes.
quotes. Good.
I
yes,
love
yes,
quotes.
Yes.
Because they make you feel something immediately and you don't have to come up with it.
And it's warm.
Right.
So if you can take that list and you can just make it so that they're even, your presentations will be so much stronger. Same thing on your social media, same thing in your promos, same thing in your ads.
Yeah, it's a great point. Yeah, I always wondered, you know, one of the fun things I like to do is go into Facebook ad library, and you can in my spare time.
Okay.
So you can go into Facebook library and you can see all the ads that somebody's running.
Okay.
Of any business.
Okay, what? Okay,
And
cool.
so if you want to try to understand the psychology of selling of any
Yes.
business,
Yes.
it's really easy to see in Facebook. And if the ads have been running for a long period of time, you know that the ad has been working. So if you look at the brand new ads, I don't know, maybe they work, maybe they don't, but if they've been running for a few months, okay, this ad is working.
Yes.
And then I like to go into the ad and see, well, why is it working? And oftentimes it's not what you expect. No. It's like, oh, this had something catchy in it, and it was some sort of warmth and entertainment, and then finally it got to the content. It got to the close.
So this is the curse of smart people. This is why we have so many failed entrepreneurs and failed businesses, is because they're super smart. And that is actually a problem in communication. Super smart people have great ideas. They have data to back it up. They have the whole plan. But if you do not know how to pitch your idea or package your idea with warmth, people will not believe it. And so smart people rely very heavily on, I'm going to put an ad and say, 50% returns or 20% cheaper than the competitor. But people don't buy from just competence alone. They have to trust you first.
Yeah, that's such a good point. You know, speaking of trust, it also reminds me that as the bigger you get, the bigger the target that you have. And, we love David until he becomes Goliath. And one thing that we've talked about before that I thought was genius is thinking about how somebody like Taylor Swift stays so high on the warmth scale when she is a billionaire, she is highly competent.
Gorgeous.
And she gets, her tickets are 5x more expensive than anybody else, and yet people love her. Can you talk a little bit about what you see in T Swift?
So you're so generous, because actually I was totally making fun of T Swift. Okay, I love her, but I was making fun of her because she does a specific nonverbal cue that just kills me. Because it is, here's what it is. Whenever she walks into a room, you watch her documentary, half of the documentary is her doing what I call the humble cue, which is this.
It's true.
And so she's in a stadium, a sold out stadium with 50,000 people. And she's like, how did you all get here? Oh my gosh, for me? We love it.
We love it.
We love it because she's so successful. She so knows her stuff, but look at how humble she is. Right? This is why these documentaries are working. This is why so many people are doing them, is because what do you see? It's like, oh, he's so successful, he's on stage, but then you see him making his own coffee.
Yeah.
Oh, he makes his own coffee. Oh, he spills a little. Oh, there's studies on this where Dr. Richard Wiseman had a model try to sell a blender in a mall. Okay? A blender. And he did 2 trials of this experiment. One where she did a demo of the blender. Hi, good morning, folks. We're going to demo this blender for you. Strawberry, banana. Here's the blender, smoothies for all. Okay? A perfect presentation. Then she had the second version of this, same words, same smoothie, same everything, but she spills the smoothie. Hi, everyone. So happy to sell you this blender. Strawberry, banana. Oh, no. Here's that smoothie for you. So sorry. The blender, when she made the mistake, she sold so many more of that blender when she made the mistake, because I think people were real, vulnerable. It's okay. And so when I talk about warmth, it's also vulnerability. It's also admitting the problem or the mistake or making a mistake or not having a perfect pitch, which for smart people, they are allergic to. Okay.
Yeah, it's true.
Allergic to it.
I have so much respect for Mel Robbins.
Yes.
Because she's so good at showing her vulnerabilities and being honest about some of the stuff that's going on in the world.
Yes.
And I think that people see that and go, okay, if she's willing to share that.
She must be real. Can
She
I
must
tell
be
you how
real.
she does it also? So she
Yes.
does it verbally, but here's a nonverbal cue that Mel uses, and I should make fun of Mel for this. She's the only other interview I did this year other than you. So this is her nonverbal cue. Ready? Guys, can I just tell you this one tip? She self-touches her face.
Yeah.
Probably just like totally mess up
No,
everything.
you look great.
So the
Why
nonverbal,
does that matter?
Okay, so self-touching your face is a cue of anxiety or nervousness. It is also a vulnerability. So you will notice that I think Mel Robbins touches her face far more than any other influencer, and you know what? We love it.
Interesting.
We love it because we know instinctively. I think Cornell found that there were 4 behaviors, nonverbal behaviors, that trigger untrustworthiness, like make you not want to trust a person. Touching the face or the hair is one of them. Touching the stomach, rubbing your arms, and I believe lack of eye contact. They just signal distrust. So when Mel gets on video and she self-touches, it immediately makes you think, oh, is she nervous? Oh, me too.
Wait, but how does that work? So this usually makes you not like somebody or not trust somebody.
I said signals untrustworthiness because we think of they're nervous. But if she's giving us really competent advice, we're like, oh, she's nervous, but she's giving us good advice.
Interesting.
I want to be very clear. All these cues do not have to do with your actual trust.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we're talking about perceptions of trust and competence, which are just as important as your actual trust and competence. And that's what I think a lot of smart people get wrong.
Yeah.
Is they think, I have the best system, I have the best business, and I'm trustworthy. Of course people will buy. And then they're shocked why no one buys, or they don't understand why their sales teams cannot close. It is because I listen in on these sales calls, and I can tell you down to the cue why they are not closing. And it is because they can have the best pitch in the world, the best script, but if they are giving away their competence, people will not believe them.
Interesting. Yeah, and I think often when people try to sell in business, they try to maybe promise what they actually can deliver, which is like a good night's sleep, Casper mattress. And people go, that's too hard. There's no way you could possibly deliver that to me. And so they almost oversell the thing that they actually do, but they'd be better off saying,
A pretty good night's sleep.
yeah, a little bit better than your last night's sleep mattress. And people go, actually,
Okay,
that's
that's
probably
believable.
doable.
Yeah.
And I think that's a great,
Yeah.
that's a great point in marketing and sales too.
I think that their tagline was something like reliable prices with science-backed engineering. Like even their tagline was the perfect blend of warmth and competence words. And they were very honest with like, here are how our engineers have tested this mattress. And so you could kind of see the process. So another way you can add warmth is you can show behind the scenes. Like I think that like when you're showing behind the scenes, people are like, oh, she's real.
Totally.
And so like that's the other way, the other element you can add there is like real behind the scenes as well.
Yeah, I don't think enough people, we talk about this a lot here too, which is document, don't create. And it's really hard to do actually because you're in it, you're working. But if you can actually document, okay, we're going to save a business today. Okay, we just closed on a deal right here.
Yes.
Then people actually can see you doing it in a world with the lowest trust levels since before the age of the internet.
Yes.
It's necessary.
Yes.
So it's smart. Now I want to talk a little bit about I think a lot of times in first interactions, we're scared. We're scared to pitch. We're scared for an interview. We're scared to sell. Can you hide fear? Does it matter? Can other people feel that?
You're not going to like this answer very much, but our emotions are contagious. And so if you're afraid, people will pick up on it. So there's a study that changed the way that I think about this, which is they brought people into their lab and they split them up into 2 different groups. One group, they wore sweatsuits and ran on a treadmill. So that they got sweat into this suit and they collected the sweat. The second group, they said, you're going to skydive for the first time. Put them in sweatsuits and push them out of a plane. They took the 2 samples of sweat. This is where it gets kind of gross. They asked unsuspecting participants to smell both of the sweat. They had no idea what they were smelling in an fMRI machine. Everyone who smelled the fear sweat, the skydiving sweat, caught the fear. They had no idea what they were smelling, but their amygdala lit up where they were afraid. What this shows us is that When you are afraid, you are sending off all kinds of signals that you don't even realize. Not only your face, not only your voice, but also even your chemical physiology. And so this is why I think it's really critically important for my introverted entrepreneurs, my introverted business owners, is you got to get yourself right before you walk into a room, and you got to know your stuff, right? Like no one can fake warmth and competence. I can give you the cues to help, but if you are truly afraid that you don't know your numbers or you don't know your stuff, people are going to pick up on it. That I think is the definition of inauthenticity, right? Is like you're faking a number or you're faking warmth with someone. Now, I will say that I think that we can convert our fear into different kinds of social energy. So it's very important for people to understand, are you an introvert, ambivert, or extrovert? Most people think of just introvert and extrovert. There's actually a third category, and most people are ambiverts. And you have to be very precise about what causes you fear or drains your battery and what gives you energy. For example, I am an ambivert. I can kind of switch between the two. I know who gives me energy. Like I leave being like, yes. Like when we hang out with our group of girlfriends, I feel energized after. I don't feel drained. Whereas I have certain people where I'm like in a coma afterwards, right?
We've all felt that.
Right. So you got to know who are the people, what are the places, who are the teammates or the tasks that drain you the fastest. And then you should divide your energy like a social battery. That helps conquer the fear, because being a little bit afraid because you're nervous is not a bad thing, but being drained and afraid, that's a deal breaker.
That's a great point. So basically you could, even if you're scared, you could at least be prepared to be scared.
Exactly. And you can know, okay, I'm bringing my favorite team member, I'm bringing my favorite wing woman. I love my deck. I just redesigned my slides. It's gorgeous. I have warmth and competence. That's going to make me feel good. So even though you're a little bit afraid pitching out there, you know your stuff. You know your deck. You have your wing woman, and you're doing it at an ideal time for you, right? Like you can we can game our energy in that way, and that's really important on teams as well. Like you should know your team members, who's introverted and who's extroverted on your team, who's ambiverted on your team. Your introverts, never put them on the spot for collaboration. That's an insult to them, right? If you want them to collaborate or share their idea, send them an email ahead of time and say, hey, tomorrow we're doing a strategy session. I'm gonna be talking about some big ideas for X in the fall. I would love your ideas on how we can do things differently.
Interesting.
That gives them 24 hours to prepare for it, as opposed to in the room, they're going to trigger fear, right? You're going to say, what are your ideas on X for the fall? And they're going to be like, huh. Not because they're not smart, but because they're in a situation that makes them feel uncomfortable.
What personality tests do you use for your team in order to tell who is what? Okay,
so I highly recommend, if you're going to hire, do behavioral interviewing. So that's less like skill and strength based, and that's more behavior based. And my favorite practice for hiring is doing alphabet work. So this is basically figuring out what is your ABCD work and what is their ABCD work. Very simply, this is your A work is work that you are better at than most people. Like, what are you better at than most people? Where do you hit flow? What are you most productive in? A work, tasks and communication. B work is the trick. B work is what trips up my smart people. B work you're pretty good at, but you're not great at it. You're not better than everyone at it. And you can get away with it, but you kind of dread it.
Yep.
C work, you're average. You do it just like everyone else. It kind of clunky, it kind of takes you a while, and you can get by. D work is work you are terrible at. You're worse than most people, and it's going to look terrible. The mistake that people make when they hire is they hire people who have their A work, and then they hire the person, and then you both want the A work. You are better off hiring someone who is opposite to you. Their D work is your A work is their D work. Or if you really, really want to be efficient, hire someone who's you can give away your B work to. B work, I think, slows most people down. We were talking about this earlier, is if you can give away your B work to give more time for A work, you're so much more efficient. And so you want to think very strategically about what's the behavior of how people are thinking.
Yeah, that's really good. You know, in that vein, I think a lot of times in our businesses, it's not just, are they competent and can this person come in and do the task?
Yes,
which
not
would
skill-based, that's
A,
skill-based.
B, C, or D. But it's also, who are they as a human? And I think I think about this in a way like, you know, what is better to have in your business as a coworker? Is it better to have a toxic coworker, or is it better to have sort of a fake coworker that you're a little ambivalent with? Like, what's the difference between the two?
Okay, I have a very strong opinion on this, which is I prefer a toxic coworker to a frenemy. I prefer a toxic worker to a fake friend. Here's why. When we know someone is toxic or difficult, we are very clear in our head. We don't go to lunch with them. We don't need to catch up on the weekend. We know their strength and their skills, and that's what we go to them for. And then we create parameters around their difficulty. When you're fake with someone or you're ambivalent, and I call this like a fake friend, when you're like, do I like them?
Yeah.
Are they doing a good job? Do they like me? Right? Like this is people, it's also with friends who you're like, was that a neg? Like, was that passive aggressive? Or are they actually supporting me? That actually drains you far faster than a toxic person. There's a study about this. So they did it with police officers, and they categorized everyone's relationships in this precinct. And they found that the officers who had more ambivalent relationships, like relationships with the coworkers where they were like, do I want to go to lunch with them or would I rather eat a sandwich alone? The more ambivalent relationships they had, the worse their happiness was, the more sick days they took, the lower their workplace satisfaction. Actually, police officers who had more toxic coworkers were totally okay because they knew that's not my person.
Yeah.
So I think that a lot of this, especially as adults, is like, who are my people? Great, that's my person and that's my person and that's not my person, that's not my person. When you are very clear on that, that actually helps you streamline your social energy. If you are not sure if someone likes you, if you are not sure that someone's not doing a good job, it's time to make a change.
That's so interesting. Have you ever thought that it wasn't working with somebody or that they weren't the right person, made a decision, made a change, let them go, moved on and regretted it?
No.
I know, me neither. Isn't that crazy? It's actually fascinating because I've asked every leader every time that question.
No.
Never have I had a leader
Never.
go, dang it, I wish I hadn't let that person go.
Never.
Dang it, I wish I still hung out with that person.
Same with friends.
Why do we wait so long and like beat ourselves up so much about it
Because we're human.
if that's the answer?
I mean, we're human, we feel
Yeah.
bad. You
Yeah.
know, and also like we're hopeful.
Yeah.
Right? Like I am fundamentally a believer in the good of human beings. And so we really want to make it work. Like we really try and we hope that they're going to change or we're going to change. But you know what? You're doing them a disservice.
Yeah, I've realized the exact same thing. And often you don't need to have a God complex. If it's not working out for them with you, they are probably perfectly suited for something else and somebody else, and you're holding them back by keeping them with you.
That's how I feel.
We just did something really cool. If you've ever thought about buying a business or want to understand what the word seller financing means, you've got to try this. So basically you fill out this application right here and we sort every single human who comes through this list to the right tool and resource for them when it comes to buying a business, when it comes to finding financing for buying a business, and when it comes to building a business. So you get directed to our member of experience or one of our members of experience, and they find the right tools and resources for you. Some of this stuff is just free. Like, oh, hey, you don't understand seller financing? Here's an article for you. Some of it is, wow, you really are ready for the 303 level. You should do the workshop. Some of it is like, you know what? Start here with our first little entry guide. I want to make sure that I get every single human only what they need when they need it to become an owner. You might like this. Hit the link in the description below and we will sort you to figure out what kind of business buyer are you. So let's say you are hiring and you want to figure out if somebody's lying to you or not. How do you do that?
Okay, my favorite topic. So I love lie detection research. In fact, we've done a lot of research in our lab on, we've had people submit videos of themselves lying. We have a whole process for doing it. And then we analyze them for cues, looking for patterns. And there is no Pinocchio's nose. There's no one cue that says someone's lying, but there are statistical cues to deceive. There are cues that we saw over and over again in the lying answers. So here are a couple of those lie detection cues. So the first, most obvious one is when something's incongruent. So someone says something, but their body shows another. So I'll give you a really good example. One of the challenges we have them do is 2 truths and a lie, where they say 2 truths about themselves and a lie. On the lie, so many people shook their head no.
Whoa.
So if you'll see this, if you're like, so like, what do you think of the new girl? You know, she's great.
Yeah.
So a nod, not in India, Pakistan, and Bulgaria. So that's a cultural note on that one. I try to be careful with my universality, but for nodding, if someone says yes, they should be shaking their head yes or neutral. Right. If someone says no, they should be shaking their head no. And you will often catch a lie when someone is incongruent. When they're like my daughter, I'll be like, did you take an extra cookie? No. Right? And she'll shake her head yes. And I'm like, are you sure? Right? Like, I know. Another incongruent is people will flash a micro expression that is counter to what they're saying. Like a big one with lying is disgust. Lying makes us feel dirty. We do not like to lie. We know it can get us into trouble. And so oftentimes when people lie, they flash a disgust microexpression. Here's what a disgust microexpression looks like when we crinkle our nose up and flash the upper whites of our teeth like this. So you'll see, it's very unnatural if you try it.
It doesn't feel very
You don't
good.
do this naturally, but here's what it looks like when someone's lying. So what do you think about the new girl? Yeah, she's great. Yeah. And they're holding that disgust expression, which means not really. Not really. And that's your opportunity. So when you see something incongruent, you say, it's totally fine if you're not jiving. I know it takes a little bit of time. Do you have any concerns? Usually just one question that clarifies gives them permission to tell you the truth. And so you want to look for incongruent nods. You want to look for incongruent facial expressions, or the big obvious one is a fake smile when someone says they're happy. This is important for sales and important for hiring, right? So if someone says, yeah, I would be so happy to work here. Right? And their smile is on the bottom half of their face. The only true indicator of a smile is when these upper cheek muscles are activated. So anyone can fake smile, right? I can do this all day long and not actually feel happy. But only 1 in 10 people can consciously activate these muscles up
What
here.
if we get Botox?
Hard.
So you might never
Hard.
be able to tell.
Don't go to California.
Although I
watch
have a lot
out.
of expression right now.
You got a lot of expression.
I'm overdue.
Also, I don't think you can actually Botox your entire cheek.
No, well, I bet you could.
Well,
but I don't
maybe
think
not.
you should.
Any activation up here is good. It's a good indicator of happiness. Because, so if someone, this is important, I think, also for looking for authenticity. So, right, if someone's like, yeah, I love your company and I've just been following you for years and I just think this is a dream job.
Do a real one. Do a real one for me.
I love your company. I
Right.
think it's so amazing. I've been following you for years.
Yeah. Interesting.
Right? That hit my upper cheek muscles. I can consciously activate muscles because I've trained them, but a lot of people cannot. And so you're looking for why did she say she was happy, but she wasn't actually happy? Same thing with contempt. So I think this is the most powerful of the microexpressions. It's one of my favorite cues. It's a one-sided mouth raise. So this, smirk. First of all, make sure you don't have it in your profile pictures. That is a microexpression of contempt.
Whoa.
So negativity, disdain, scorn. So if you're with someone and you say, the benefits package actually only includes about 7 vacation days, are you okay with that? Yeah, that's fine.
Not okay.
Not fine. Not fine. You're going to get pushback on that. That's going to create resentment. Contempt is a beast of an emotion because it is the seed of disrespect. So Dr. John Gottman, marriage and family counselor, he did a huge research experiment on married couples. He wanted to know if he could predict divorce. He filmed these couples. He did in-depth history of these couples. He followed them for years. He found there was one single indicator of which couple would get divorced. And it was in the initial intake interview, one member of the couple showed contempt towards the other. So I can watch a silent video of a couple and tell you with pretty good accuracy if they're going to get divorced. He can watch a silent video of a couple, and predict with 93.7% accuracy if that couple will get divorced within 30 years. And that is because contempt, when it comes up, it's a better than, it's scorn. If it's not addressed, it festers and it grows. And that's how you get, at the end of a marriage, people can't even look at each other. And so if you have an employee or a friend or a partner who is showing contempt at you or something you say, immediately pause and address it. What can we do here? How are you really feeling about this? Is there anything you want to tell me? That is an opportunity for you to find out what is really going on.
Brilliant. So you notice that somebody in your company has contempt.
Yes.
Because they're doing something like this. They're doing
Smart.
a fake smile.
We have fake smile, one-sided mouth raise. Yep.
And then the next thing that you do is you note it, and without going direct at it, you don't say, you look, you say...
You can try that, but not going to go great.
You say what?
Okay, so you have two options here, right? So you can just note it as a leader, especially if it's in a team meeting. You just noted it, right? And also what it's about. Sometimes people show contempt because they had a bad day.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe you mentioned the weekend and they don't like what they have planned for the weekend. So it's only if it's relevant to something that you can actually do or change. Also, you might not be able to change something, and you should just note, okay, they're going to not feel good about that. Then you have the choice of how are you going to pursue. I personally like just information gathering, right? So, hey, I just want to follow up with you on the meeting, either by email or in person, whichever you prefer. How are you feeling about this change? How are you feeling about the update? I just want to check in with you and see how everything's going. Do you have any questions for me? Right? That open-ended is step one. Step two is,
what do they usually say at that point? Do they usually...
oh my gosh, usually they're like, oh, thank goodness you asked me, because let me tell you, I am not happy about this new rollout. And right? So that's option one. And almost always that works. The second option is you can try again. So you can be like, You could bring up the option again, just want to go over it, make sure it all makes sense. Sometimes people are contemptuous when they're confused. You get some people who are like, why don't I understand this? They're contemptuous about it. So sometimes just re-explaining it again, you don't see the contempt, good, right? So oftentimes it can even be a clarity issue. Like sometimes a mistake I see entrepreneurs make is you say, so what's your business? What do you do? And they give you the most complicated answer I've ever heard in a million years.
Yeah.
And you see people like, okay, cool. Right? They're not contemptuous of you. They don't understand. And they're contemptuous of that.
Right.
So if you're introducing yourself, you're explaining something, you're like, gosh, Vanessa, I'm seeing this contempt everywhere. You are overcomplicating it. You need to go for clarity over confusion. People should be able to very quickly understand what you do and who you are and what you want from them.
Now I find myself smirking because you've
Don't
done
do
it so
that.
many times.
No, you're mirroring me.
I'm mirroring you.
Okay, so that's a funny thing is also like mirror neurons are absolutely unconscious, and now you probably want to smirk because you can see I'm activating these muscles, right? And you're even doing the same side, which is kind of funny. So that is a very human response. So mirror neurons activate when we see someone make an emotion. This is another reason why emotions are contagious. If you show up and you were excited about your business, excited about whatever you're pitching, that you're showing so many cues of excitement, and then you can't help but smile with me. If you are fake smiling, you are less contagious. Dr. Barbara Wild found this. She showed people 2 pictures, one of people authentically smiling and one of people fake smiling. Everyone who saw the real smile caught it. Their mood got better. Everyone who saw the fake smile, even though they didn't know it was a fake smile, had no behavior change, no mood change. So when we are truly happy, we are literally more infectious. So yes, I think our mirror neurons are a big part of like getting yourself right, and also like love your business, love your people, because it's real hard to fake it.
Yeah. Let's talk about the difference between men and women.
Ooh, okay.
Like, is there a difference in men and women and what you need to do to be attractive and likable?
Oh my goodness. Okay, so two questions here. So there is big differences between men and women, and that is because men and women send off inherently different cues and different signals. Typically, not always, women have higher voice tones, right? Typically, not always, women use the question and inflection more, and that's cultural, right? A lot of the times, women have been taught, be liked. So they're, as parents, not always, but they're warmth. Whereas boys are taught, get ahead, be respected. So they're often taught competence. So in the research, by the way, this is Dr. Susan Fisk's research from Princeton University. She calls it the stereotype content model, which is that women, by default, are seen as higher in warmth and lower in competence. Men, by default, are seen as higher in competence and lower in warmth. Now I say, great to know. Like, I would rather know that. That is why I dial up my competence in my presentations. When I'm corporate speaking, the name of my business is Science of People, right? Like, that is the most competent name that you could possibly have. Because I know I'm fighting a default that's higher in warmth. But I also use that to my advantage sometimes as well. So it's just important to know that default for you, and then you can purposefully dial up as you wish. You know you have a higher in competence, and you have to work towards warmth, right? Like, we got to get you some pink. We got to get you some lace, right? We got to work on it.
I'm doing the makeup.
And you're not,
this is a lot.
but that puts us in control.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yes, let's know these biases, because we're then in control of being able to dial up as we wish.
Yeah. How do you see women do it wrong? Because I've seen in the workplace, at least, there was a generation where they had to be tougher, right? They had to show super high levels of competence, otherwise they wouldn't get ahead.
Yes.
And then in my opinion, something went a little sideways there for a while, where because we had to do that for so long, then we kind of overcorrected and we went too hard. And so do you ever see common mistakes women make on the level of moving from warmth to competent?
Yes, and it is 2 words, vocal fry. I don't know why, but there's an epidemic for women more specifically where they'll say a really great idea, but they don't deliver it well because they're a little bit nervous about it, and so they deliver it with a little bit of like vocal fry.
Whoa,
so they
you're right.
change their voice tone, so like it's more like here where you hear that kind of sizzling factor. Well, it's really hard to like believe an idea when it's delivered like this.
It makes me want to cry for some reason. I feel like uncomfortable for you.
Like getting watery.
Like,
It's horrible.
That's awful.
And so I hear this all the time, and I think it's like a a fear or a lack of assertiveness. And so that is one of the biggest things that women can do to immediately take back their vocal competence is speak louder. If you have vocal fry and you're like, how do I get rid of this? Just speak a little bit louder. It immediately gets rid of it. That is because the moment you add more breath, it gets, vocal fry, gross, is your vocal cords rubbing together like crickets. That's what it is. So the moment you add more breath, it gets rid of it. If you hear someone underserving themselves, like an employee or someone is pitching and they're using vocal fry, say, hey, would you mind speaking up? It will immediately get rid of their vocal fry. Wow. So that's a really big cue that I see, and women don't understand why they're not being taken seriously, or they're being interrupted.
Yeah.
Or they're being underestimated, or they're being passed over.
Interesting.
And it's because they're accidentally giving it away.
What about men?
Men. It's so hard to make universals with men. No, I know it. This drives me crazy. Men think that to be powerful is to be stoic and unreadable. So recently, especially, I see men who are like, Vanessa, I don't need cues. I have no cues. And they will be these leaders who they've gotten rid of all facial expressions. They've literally learned to keep their face completely still. They have no movement, no nodding, no head tilting. They literally sit and listen to ideas completely still with no give back. The problem with that is no cues is a cue in itself. We understand muting as a problem with charisma. So when you are mute or you under-express, it immediately gets rid of your warmth and your competence. So I see these leaders who have trained themselves to go completely still, typically male, and they're like, why doesn't my team open up to me? Why is everyone quitting? Why can't I close these deals? And I'm like, it's because you are so still-faced, and this is something called the still-face experiment. When you are with someone, and I am completely still-faced and completely still body, it is so physically hard for you to open up to me. Like if you were making no movement and no encouragement and no facial expressions, it would be physically hard for me to talk.
Yep.
And so a mistake that I see men make is they mute and they don't realize that they're losing. It's costing them loyalty.
Oh yeah, I've been.
You've been
in there. Yeah.
You're married to a man.
Captain Stoic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because a lot of military men are taught that to survive.
Oh, for sure.
So I have so many amazing vets. We love our vets, and the problem they have is they've gotten rid of all their cues because it was risky for them. And so they used no cues to survive, literally.
Yep. And
now they have to relearn, what cues am I going to pick to do this? One of the first cues I teach men, by the way, if this is you, if you're like, oh man, I totally under emote, like no one can read my face, people are going to tell you you're cold, intimidating, hard to talk to. That's how you know that's you. One of the first cues I'm going to teach you is visible hands. So this works also in the military. So a lot of folks that we have in the military, they'll use this because visible hands is an immediate trust signal. It immediately warms you up, especially in your first impression. The moment you hop on a video call, morning, good to see everyone. That one cue, it wasn't a lot of movement, but it's very easy to do. It's a greeting, it's warmth, right? When you're talking, the more you can have your palms out, palms visible, we love to see a palm. It's an immediate warmth cue.
Interesting.
And it's much easier typically for men than like, howdy, they're not going to do that with their face. So like, even like, let me tell you about an idea that we have coming up. Just that one palm flash, a palm flash is really nice for like, I'm open to your ideas, I'm not concealing anything. It actually goes back to like a very primal part of our brain.
Yeah.
We love to see a palm. We at our lab, I analyzed thousands of hours of TED Talks with my team looking for patterns. And what we found was the difference between the viral TED Talks and the least viral TED Talks were the most viral TED speakers used an average of over 400 hand gestures in 18 minutes. Whereas the least viewed TED Talks used about 270 gestures in 18 minutes. What's happening here? The best TED Talks all start the same way, like this. Today, I want to talk to you about a big idea. We're going to talk about 3 different ways it can change your life. Right?
That is true.
That's like they're all like that, and it's also the TED Talk voice, right? Like there is a TED Talk voice, and like for some reason, like I can be like, I'm going to say something, and it's going to be so important, and you just know that because of the words that I'm using. And that voice tone tells you that this is something that we have to remember, because you know what? 30% of people believe that, right? Like I'm not saying anything, but like my vocal tone is cueing you. So there's a voice tone for TED and there's a hand gesture for TED. First of all, the best TED talkers, they greet everyone on stage with an open gesture, right? Big open gestures. And then they typically align their gestures with their words. The most competent, charismatic speakers are explaining their concepts to you with their visual gestures and their words. So if I were to say to you, Cody, I have a really big idea. It's huge. You're like, it's not, Vanessa. I can see how small it is. It's really small. And that is because your brain believes my gesture more than my word. They've actually shown that gestures carry more weight than words because it's hard to lie with our gestures. Like, let's try an experiment. I want you to say 3, but hold up 5. Okay, ready? 3. Horribly hard.
Hard to do.
Hard.
Yeah.
You can try that. It's
I
so
thought
hard.
you gave me a little time. I pictured it in my head,
Yes,
and then I could do it.
Your brain does not like lying with gestures.
Interesting.
So very charismatic speakers, they get on TED stage, they have visible gestures. This is for all my stoic men, right? You have a visible gesture, and then you're going to align. So if you have 3 big ideas, just hold 3 big ideas, right? If we have phase 1 and phase 2, we have those 2 phases. It's very easy for you to picture that. Politically, you'll notice that very good political speakers, they are literally outlining their talk for you with their gestures. If they have a really small idea, they're like, this is no big deal. Look how small it is, right? If they're like, this is a big problem, you're like, whoa, it's beach ball big. It's big,
It's huge.
right? Right? If they're like, and you'll notice some people will be like, the other guys over here. And every time they talk about those other guys, they show disgust. And like, it's smelly, that hand. And you begin to associate that hand with those bad guys. And then he or she doesn't even have to say about those guys. You just know those horrible guys.
Interesting.
So like that makes it easier for our brains to grok very complicated concepts. I'm getting ahead of myself, but I think that it's important for people to think about both.
How many views did your TED Talk get?
Over 4 million, girl.
Yeah, you were like one of the most viewed TED Talks of all time.
Oh,
right?
all time. I don't know, all time. But that research got me my TED Talk.
That's wild.
The research on TED and how we're contagious from stage is what got me that.
So one other thing that I want to talk about is, do you feel like we nailed the how you got tricked into a bad hire? Yeah. The ABCD. I thought we did too. I did it with a different question.
I liked it.
What about the biggest mistakes that people can make in communicating their ideas internally to their company, not just externally? So we talked about how to open up meetings, we talked about how to do pitches, but you and I obsess all day when we're talking about how do we build bigger companies and how do we sell internally, and I don't think a lot of people think about that. So what do bad leaders do, or what mistakes do we make when we communicate internally?
What people don't realize is that your internal marketing to your team is just as important as your external marketing. You've got to get your team on board on an idea. And I think the mistake that people make is they frame ideas or initiatives or phases as like vitamins, as like, this is good for the team. So like a vitamin idea would be like, guys, our software is really out of date and we got to switch to that new LMS. We got to switch to that new, CRM software. It's going to be good for the team. I know it's going to be painful, but we got to do it. What team member is going to be like, yeah, whoa. Yeah. You as a business owner can do vitamin things for your business. You can do things that are good for the business that have short-term pain, but long-term gain. Your team members aren't thinking that way. You're lucky if they're thinking 6 months to a year at your company. Yep. So you want to try to emphasize, what is the painkiller? Why is this going to help us immediately? That's going to help them get over that short-term pain. So the difference between a vitamin and painkiller, vitamin is like, this is good for us. It's going to be really, we should do it. A painkiller is like, you know how you're having lower close rates because we lose contact cards? That problem will be gone next week. Literally gone. Now, we're going to have to set up some stuff. We're going to have to do the back end, but that will no longer be a complaint for you. It fixes the problem in day one. Now, that's one feature of the new CRM or the new software. But if you know that as a complaint of your sales team, that's how you're going to your sales team. That pain point you've been coming to me about for the last 6 months, it's going to fix it. Done. I prioritize that for you. Now, there's 15 other things that has to be done, but boy, oh boy, don't you want to get rid of that headache. And maybe for the HR team, it's like, hey, you know how it's been a nightmare tracking all the contact with people? No more. This totally fixes all of it. It puts it all in one place.
Brilliant.
So it's painkillers, not vitamins, even internally.
Yeah. We talk a lot about issues with communicating with our spouses because we're actually buddies in real life.
Yes.
And we also have a friend who's like sort of a relationship guru person. So I know you and I typically don't love to talk about our relationships publicly. So let's do it like externally. But like these days, man, I mean, we have people getting married later than ever. We have people having less sex. We have people being in less committed relationships.
Divorce is up.
Divorce is up. I think it's hard for young people finding somebody. What advice do you have, or what research do you have to show how to better connect with a member of the opposite sex if you're single?
Okay, so I want to actually answer this in 2 ways. I want to answer it for single people, and I want to answer it for coupled people.
Let's do it.
Okay, so this is amazing research. It changed my relationship with my husband and actually some close family members, which is Dr. Dan McAdams found that we connect through 3 different levels. When we're with someone, we're trying to pass through first, level 1, general traits. What do you do? Where you're from? What's your value system? Very, very basics. Level 2, personal concerns. What worries you? What are your motivations? What are your goals? Level 3, the hardest one, we're not there with most people in our life, self-narrative. What is the story you tell yourself about yourself? And so in single people, I think what's really important is understanding those 3 levels and knowing how to break through from level 1 to level 3. You can do this with 15 questions. So we've actually been diving into this research, and I found 5 questions for each level that you can actually use to break through. So for example, in the very first level, I want you to ask about, so this is not just what do you do, it's what excites you, what's been the highlight of your week, what are you learning right now? Those are questions that are like, not just like, where do you vacation? Like, not just like, oh, what do you do for fun, right? Like, they're questions that are actually beginning to untangle some deeper connective tissue. Then you want to try to graduate. Like, you want to actually move to level 2 questions. Level 2 questions are, you know you're on level 2 with someone if you know, what do they worry about when they fall asleep at night? What do they think about when they get up in the morning? If you don't know the answer to those questions, you're not close enough, right? Like, I think I probably know what keeps you up at night and what gets you up in the morning. I think you know that about me too, right? So you should also be doing this with your friends, but literally asking, like, what worries you? What's the thing that keeps you up at night? What motivates you? What are you driving towards? What's your biggest goal this year? So those are value-based personality questions. And the last level, and this is the hardest one, is what's the story they tell themselves about themselves? I think what's really important is you want to know what their narrative is. And in our research, and this is new research, I'm finding there are basically 3 different self-narratives, and you want to know what you're getting into. The first one is my favorite. It's a hero self-narrative. You want a hero if you can in a relationship. A hero self-narrative is something like this. I have challenges and problems, but with hard work and grit and determination, I overcome them. And that is their narrative for everything. Their childhood, their work, their workout routine, like you have choose your heart, like that is a perfect example of a hero self-narrative. You'll find something, conquer it, and then be done with it, have success with it. You like that because in a relationship, that sets you up for success. They know it's not easy. Right? Like they know it might take a little bit of hard work, but they want the success. The second self-narrative I call a healer self-narrative. This is typically someone who their entire life is giving. Like they're always trying to fix and heal. They're typically in social work, teaching, the medical profession. They are givers. And that can be a problem. It's not a bad thing, but it can be a problem because they typically are people pleasers. They typically don't stand up for themselves. They're also the friend who says yes to everything and then cancels last minute. Right, like because they cannot say no in the moment because they really want to, but they are so overextended. But you should know that going into a relationship that you might have to stand up for them and they will probably overextend themselves, right? Or you might be in a relationship where you want a healer. The last one is the one you want to watch out for, which is a victim self-narrative. A victim self-narrative starts like the hero. Challenges, mistakes, problems, but they couldn't overcome. That no matter how hard they worked, they weren't able to change anything. They typically are the ones who feel they have very bad luck. And over again, these are the friends where it's like, nothing's ever fixed. You give them advice. They can't figure it out. Woe is me. Everyone's against me. You want to watch out for that because they will never be able to get out of that if that's how they see their whole life. That's literally their narrative about how their life goes. So as a single person, if you can try to answer those questions, go through them. I'm happy to give them away. They're on my website. Ask those questions early. Send them to your group chats. Ask the first 3 and then the second 3 and then ask them on different dates because then you're purposely connecting and you're moving up the levels. If you're in a relationship, I highly recommend do all 15 questions once a year.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
The answers change. It is amazing when I ask my husband some of these questions, how his answers have changed. I've been with my husband for 18 years. And it is amazing how much his answers and my answers have changed. And so every year on our anniversary, we ask and answer all 15 questions. And that has been a game changer. I'll give you one example with a friend. So one of the level 3 questions is what book, movie, or TV character is most like you and why? It's a value-based question. So it's not like who looks like you. It's like what character really has values like you. I had a really good friend I'd known for years. I thought we were super close. I was like, oh yeah, we're on level 3. Mom of 3, stay-at-home mom, funny, smart. I was like, oh yeah, her self-narrative is probably like a funny TV mom. Like that's her. I asked her this question immediately. She's like, oh, Katniss Everdeen from the Hunger Games. I was like, what? She's like, oh yeah, I feel like I'm surviving every day. We had the best conversation that we had ever had. She was living a life that I had no idea. True hero self-narrative, which I knew, but I had no idea how much struggle she was having. And so these questions unlock aspects of people that truly can change and level up your connections.
It's so beautiful too, because all anybody really wants is somebody to listen to them and somebody to show them a little love.
And someone to understand them.
Yeah.
You want to be listened to, but you also want to be understood.
Yeah, that's true.
These questions are seeking to understand.
That's right. Because it's not enough to just listen. Yeah, I hear you. I don't really understand. I don't really care.
Exactly. So
Totally
these questions are not just like, what do you do for fun? Oh, that's cool. I don't like that.
Yeah.
Right? These are like questions that are specifically geared toward like, what is the narrative in their head?
Yeah.
And if you're going to be with someone in a marriage or a friendship, you want to know how they're talking to themselves, because you know what? That's going to be how they talk to you.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Yeah, and also I think on top of that, how much more interesting are you if your conversations go that way? I mean, could you imagine a first date, you have those 15 questions prepped, you weave them in, don't be a psychopath and like, interrogate them through the questions.
I mean,
don't do it. I feel like, but if you weave that in with like the, you can't start with.
And the level 1 questions are actually like that. Like,
right.
You can't
what are you
be
excited
like,
about
what's
right
your
now?
deepest fear? Date
Right,
1.
exactly.
No, that's level 2. And actually that's a mistake that people make in dating.
Right.
Is they are trying to speed up. They're like trying to speed up the connection. So they ask level 2 question, the person is like totally freaked out. No, level 1 questions are like sneakers. They're like sneaky questions. Like they're getting to a little bit of depth. They don't sound really bad. So yeah, you want to weave them in. I also am like a big fan of like, listen, like I watched this great podcast with Codie and Vanessa, and they had these 15 questions for new couples. Like, would you be willing to try the first 3?
Cute.
Right? Like transparent, warm, vulnerable. Like you're competent, you're listening to Codie's podcast.
Yeah.
You're warm and you really want to ask them.
Yeah.
Right? Like I am for radical transparency. Like, if I don't want to do something, I'm like, no, I'm not doing it. Right?
Yes,
like
you do.
I am for it. And so like,
Yeah.
I'm like, you want to ask them 15 questions because you like them? Tell them, I like you so much that I want to go to level 3 with you, but we're on date 1. So can we start with the first 3 questions? Right? Like your face looks bad. Are you contemptuous of me? Please tell me. Like I'm for it.
Yeah. I
I'm
like
for
that.
it. And so that's, by the way, like you asked about likable and attractive. And that's what makes us likable and attractive, is we're asking like really intentional questions that are opening up the lines of connection in a totally different way.
Hey y'all, I don't know about you guys, but this podcast is killing me. She is so good. So if you are loving this podcast like I am, like a little possum digging in trash, just looking for buried treasure, I think you should make sure to give this a review. We are obsessing on this one idea, which is, can we get a bunch of humans to tell us what you really think about this podcast? What you want, what you don't. I read every single one of the reviews on there. So put your little mitts on those 5 stars if you feel like it and give us some feedback. I appreciate every single one of you. Let's go back to Vanessa. I want to talk really quickly about introverts in business.
Yes.
Because you sort of specialize as being a self-prescribed recovering awkward person.
I'm a recovering awkward person.
And you talk a lot about how you can be awkward and introverted in business, and it can be okay.
It's totally okay.
So I know this is a huge topic that you speak a lot about at Science of People, but if you had to leave somebody with a little sprinkling as somebody in business who really wants to be successful but is introverted, what typical advice do you give?
Okay, so first things first is you have to find your recipe for charisma. I think that I used to believe as an awkward person, this is what unlocked my awkwardness, is there was only one type of charisma. That to be liked, to be successful in business, because I've been running my business for 15 years, right? Like I put my first video on YouTube in 2007. And I thought to be successful on YouTube, I'm so old. I know, I'm aging myself.
Between the two of us.
I know. So in 2007, I thought the only way to be popular on YouTube was to be a bubbly extrovert.
Yeah.
I literally thought that was the only type of charisma. But actually there are different flavors of charisma. You can absolutely be the quiet, powerful introvert. You can be the empathetic healer. You can be the wise question asker. And I think once I was so awkward because I was faking being an extrovert. I am not an extrovert. So the key is stop pretending to be an extrovert.
Yeah.
You do not have to be an extrovert to be successful in business, but you do have to find your flavor. So the question is, what is your social strength? Is it storytelling? Is it being funny and humble? Right? Like I think Taylor Swift has a great social strength of being grateful in a stadium full of 50,000 people. That is hard. Like Usher, when he walks out, he's like, what? Yeah, I deserve you being here, right? Like that's his vibe. And that totally works for Usher. But that does not work for Taylor Swift. And if she tried to do that, people wouldn't like it.
Comment if you remember who Usher is, if you're old like us, because I feel like you're also dating us now.
Yeah,
You're like, the thing is, back when Bach was playing and Mozart was in season.
Oh no, Mozart, my friend Mozart.
But you're right. So she can have a totally different vibe than a rapper.
Yes, and so I think like find your vibe. Like social skills come small. Like it's not just like presenting. It's storytelling. It's using memes. It's being funny. It's sharing a case study. It's one-to-one. Like for example, as a leader, I know one-to-one I do really well. Like I prioritize those meetings because I just do better in them than like the big all hands kind of meetings.
But you're such a good presenter. That surprises me.
On like a big stage for sure, but like on our team of like 10, you know what I mean? I'm like, are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay? Is everyone okay? Like it's actually like very hard. So we have one big call a week. That's it.
Yeah.
Otherwise it's one-on-ones with me. So like understand what your strength is. Like what down to the specific skill. Is it presenting, art, keynotes, being funny, right? So like understand your specific strength and don't be afraid to be vulnerable. Like I think a little story is I was at an invite-only muckety-muck event here in Austin with a lot of VIPs, a lot of really important people who live in Austin. Like the most important people in Austin, like they were there, right? It was in this huge mansion. And so I get invited and I'm like, why was I invited? I do not deserve to be here. And like I walk in like awkward penguin, you know, and they put us all in a circle. There was 30 of us, 25 of us. They put us all in a circle and they go, one by one, we're gonna introduce ourselves. And I'm not joking, okay? Someone was like, well, I founded insert huge company that you definitely know, and I'm like a billionaire and I own the world. The next person was like, I cured cancer and I'm curing future cancers that don't exist, and I am an amazing doctor. And then, like, it was like insane. Okay, like, and they're going around the circle, and I'm just like, like it's getting to me. I'm like, I'm a YouTuber. I write books about people. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just. So it gets to me, and I'm like, I'm a recovering awkward person, and the whole circle was like, and starts to laugh. Like everyone's like, oh, yeah, me too, me too, me too. And I was like, and I help our awkward, smart people connect. If you're awkward and you don't have anyone to talk to later, just come find me. I have a YouTube channel and a couple books. I will tell you, almost every single person after me referenced me. They were like, I'm awkward, like her. Laugh again, cue laughter. And after the circle broke up, everyone in the circle came to talk to me, including like the important muckety mucks over here, right? Because they were also very awkward. And so it made me realize, like, don't pretend, don't fake it, don't show off. Let people impress you. Stop trying to impress them.
Yep.
And be a little vulnerable. It's okay to say that you wished you were home watching Netflix. Yeah. Like, it's okay to say, you know what, I have at night, I do my passion project, and during the day I drive Uber, right? Like, stop flexing. Like, I think it's okay to be vulnerable and be like, my passion, I'm doing this, and we're getting to the next level, but we're having some trouble with staffing. If you know anyone, like, that's how we actually impress people.
You know what's interesting, though, is you do it in a way where you don't give up your competence. Oh. And so I think that's the really hard part. Like, I know when I was first getting on the internet after being in finance for a long time, and I didn't really want to explain that I ran a media company and I had this holding company, I would say, like, I make TikToks.
Yeah, and I was friends with you when you used to say that. I'd be like, girl.
Yeah, and I think at that point, it was because I didn't want to explain more, and
it was like an out.
It was a little bit of an out, but it's not a great out, because when you're in rooms with those important people, you don't want them to go, oh, well, she's got an OnlyFans. You know, like you, I bet they did. They're like, oh, that bitch, you know, gonna slide her a bill later.
Yeah, gonna look you up. How do you spell your name? Codie? I-E?
Capital D. Anyway, so
oh, no.
I think the point is you really have to think about how can you be vulnerable without losing your competence. Do you have opinions or advice on how to do that? Because yours is perfect. You're like, I'm recovering, aka I'm not all the way. Awkward. Lots of people who are smart consider themselves awkward. Yes. I do X thing, which shows competence, followed by two really impressive things. Author, and I have a big media company. Yeah. But like, it's perfectly crafted.
You would not be watching this if you don't have a good business idea.
Yeah.
Right? And so I think, like, being vulnerable is being true and sharing your good idea.
Yeah.
I also think if you can add a credibility marker, it helps. Like, for example, I noticed that when I added Wall Street Journal's best-selling book, it immediately upped my perceived credibility, because anyone can have a best-selling book on Amazon in like the category of like awkward people, right? Like, no.
Yeah.
So that was like, okay, so is there a way in your, like, for example, if I say I'm a recovering awkward person, I have a TED Talk about being awkward, right? Like, that's a credibility marker that I can very quickly say. Or like, I have best-selling books through Penguin Random House, right? Like, so in the beginning of my career, I was saying TED Talk, I was saying Penguin Random House, I was saying like the big credibility markers. Like, I just got asked to teach a Harvard class. You can bet I'll be adding that into my bio. So the more that you can add them, sprinkle them in, credibility markers are good, right? And it can be the counterbalance to your warmth.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Yeah, I also think you can find one that's not so serious. If you're not perfectly skilled like Vanessa is, you could say like, I am a ravenous pickleball player.
That's it. Totally.
You know?
Yes.
Like, why could that work? Because pickleball, nobody looks cool playing pickleball.
Right.
And
I mean,
if you add it,
pretty
no, you know,
no, okay.
nobody looks
All right.
cool. No,
Okay,
it's not. It's an out.
great, okay.
The internet hates me for this. But and then
love
saying a
pickleball.
word, they love you. By saying a word like, I am a top tier pickleballer, I am a ravenous
Right,
pickleballer.
totally.
Like, it's an immediate chuckle.
Yes, or like even like by night I do,
Yeah.
you know, or like my day job is this, but like my passion project is this. Like, we like words like that: passion project, ravenous, amateur. Like, you can
amateur's a
say
good one.
those things, like recovering in its own way. Or like, I also love, I teach my students to do like blank turned blank. So I have a lot of like pivoters. I have a lot of students who are like, I was a lawyer and now I want to be a nonprofit runner or whatever. Runner, owner of a nonprofit. Like, I don't even know. Yeah, I have a lot of students who like have pivoted.
Yeah.
And they're like, how do I say like I was legit a lawyer and I've chosen this? I'm like, turned. So like, I'm a lawyer turned nonprofit. I'm a student, but my passion project is that I'm coding my own software blank. So that is a narrative, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, I think people are afraid to, in an elevator pitch, or like I teach my students, it's called a log line. Like, a log line is like a one sentence phrase that gets people hooked. And every movie in Hollywood comes with a log line. And so you should have a log line. It should be a one sentence hook to what you do, and it should be a story. And you can do it in one sentence. Like me saying, I'm a recovering awkward person turned YouTuber. That's a story. Like, that's an interest. You're like, what?
Yeah.
Like, I want to hear. So it's like, I'm a scuba dive instructor turned family law lawyer. Like, we like a story like that. And so I think that if you can do not, I'm a blah.
Yeah, you know, it's the hero's journey.
Totally. And you can do that in one sentence.
You know, former nerd turned Spider-Man.
There you go. Exactly.
I think on my book they put in reformed Wall Street investor turned small business owner.
By the way, her book is so good.
Well, you know why?
So I did get an early copy, and I edited the shit out of it.
Yeah,
and
it had the best feedback. Also,
it's so good, guys.
You know what's really
so
fun
good.
is when you know your friends, finding ones who their love language is some portion of what you need to. Like I remember you said explicitly to me, I want to be the best editing help of anybody of all of our friend group.
I'm highly competitive, and I wanted to give the best advice. I'm highly competitive, and like it was fun. It was fun for me to do it, and I said, "Am I the best?"
Oh, you were the best.
Well, Fernando, we have a friend.
We have one friend
who competed with me on the editing, but it is so good. Like, if you have not ordered it yet, it is so good. The edits I had were small in comparison to the book. Yeah.
No, they were really important. You know, the edits, I think a couple of the things that you taught me the most about communication in general is, one, that story's more memorable than stat.
Yeah.
And so, like, make sure if you're going to tell some statistics, wrap it in a story so
Warmth,
that people
competence.
can remember.
Yeah.
And then you also mentioned a lot about how this is about the reader. Yeah. So, you know, we had a lot of diagrams and data and stuff in there.
Beautiful diagrams.
Right. And you're like, get to the point, and why do they care?
Yeah.
And we did that really tight up front because I wanted to make sure that people lasted through that first chapter to get into the meat. And that was really helpful.
I also think, like, this is for anyone, whether you're writing a book or starting a business, is like, you want to compliment the person who is reading it. You want to compliment the person who is buying it. You want to compliment the person who deigned to visit your page. You want to compliment the person who opened your email. Like, I've been writing an email newsletter for literally 14 years. Like, it took me 1 year to get my...
And it's huge.
My newsletter is huge. I personally write every single word because I know that I should be letting them impress me. I should be over-delivering. I should be aggressively helpful. And so I think it's the same thing as, like, how can you compliment your person? Like, how can you ask the right questions or set them up for success? Like, that is a way we spread goodness.
It's so good. Okay, I want to close out with something a little bit different that I don't think you talk about very much, which is you are one of the categorically happiest business people I know, and you have the best balance in your business while running a business with quite a lot of zeros. Yeah. And so I know you're private about a lot of this, but what do you think the key has been to moving from somebody who did 452 videos, all of the different businesses, every speaking spot, to 2 podcasts this year that you've done, you know, taken an entire summer off, really a sabbatical.
Yeah, I take summer sabbaticals.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you've taken now multiple. And you have 2 wonderful kids and a beautiful husband. Like what's your secret?
Just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Yeah, that's an annoying statement.
How often do I say that to you?
lot.
A lot. A lot.
Every other day.
I don't have a podcast.
Yeah.
I can do a podcast. Should I do a podcast? No, because I should go on everyone else's. Yeah. That is better. I have a newsletter, and I put everything into that because I should be doing that because that is a direct line of communication with my people. TikTok, don't care. I'm on there because my team has forced me. But like, I shouldn't do it. I shouldn't be making reels for TikTok.
And you don't post it yourself?
No.
That's all done third party now?
It doesn't convert. And so I think like it's very important for a business owner to focus relentlessly on what is actually converting to your business. And I mean dollars, right? Like I have a tight team. Like we want to keep overhead as low as possible. Like if it is not converting, if a job role is not converting, it is not a role. And so it's all the things you could do, making a big list of that. And every year we make a big list of all the things we could do. And then we play stop, start, continue. And this is my favorite game to play, and we do it all the time. It's like, okay, what should we stop doing? Is this actually converting? This role, this task, this person, down to, I realized that checking my inbox was not converting into actual work. Yeah. And so I figured out how to outsource it to my assistant, who is amazing, shout out Carolyn, so that she can actually go through my inbox and do everything that needs to be done with a very precise system so that I'm spending now 10 minutes every other day on email as opposed to 3 hours a day. That was really painful. It took 6 months to get rid of my inbox, but it was not converting. So that went on the stop list, right? What is actually converting? That's continue. That's the shortest list, right? Like what you're actually continuing. And then stop is if it's not converting or it's draining your soul, it has to stop. Sometimes it takes a while to undo things.
Yeah, it's so true. Totally selfish question for me. You get a lot of asks. Vanessa, come on this show. Come speak here. Come do that here. How do you respond to things and teach your team to respond to things so that the person who gets your nose feels like it's lovely, thinks so highly of you? Everybody always loves you. What's the secret?
I'm like, yes, everybody.
Yes, they do.
No, radical transparency and vulnerability. So it sounds like this. Thank you so much for this podcast offer. You know, Vanessa is on a podcast sabbatical because she hates them. I did you and I did Mel because I like you both, and this is fun.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I don't like it.
Yeah.
Right? Like seriously, or like my favorite one is like if it's personal, like someone texts me and they're like, "Can you speak at my conference? I want to speak at your conference." That was the easy one. Like I don't want to speak at someone's conference, and I say, you know what? I would love to. I'm so honored you thought of me, but my plate is as full as I like right now.
Yeah.
My plate is as full as I like right now. I also love the word sabbatical. Like I am on a podcast sabbatical. I'm not doing new podcasts. When I'm in summer sabbatical, I am on summer sabbatical. I maybe work 5 hours a week in the summers because I want to spend time with my kids. And so like it's when people understand it's not personal to you. I am literally on a summer sabbatical. I'm not doing calls. I'm not doing video calls. I'm not doing pitches. I'm not email. I schedule all my content out. I'm off. I'm out. And that makes people not feel like it's personal to them. So radical transparency and blaming a system. Blaming a system works so well. Sabbatical. Vanessa's not doing any speaking events in the fall. Sorry. Yeah. Oh, you know, Vanessa's recovering from her book tour. She'll pick back up in December. Yeah. That's a system. People cannot fight against a system, but that means you got to have systems.
Well, that's a really good point. So that's basically the structure is, if you want to respond to thing but have the other person almost thank you for the response, it's first, profusely thank them.
And
gratitude, appreciation, because that's honest.
Yes.
Second is have a system in place where you say, because of X system, Y action will or will not work.
Yes, because of X system, it will not work, and it's nothing personal to you, but you can't fight it because it's a system. Or a very real and vulnerable thing that if I say I hate people, you don't want me to come. Like, for example, Nick Ray, love Nick Ray. He invites me to some things and I go and I love it. But some things I'm like, I don't like people.
Same.
And I literally write back and I'm like, I don't like people enough to go to that. I'm awkward. And he goes, I know. Right? And like, that is a very real and vulnerable share. Or like, sometimes people invite me to things and I'm like, it's after 9 p.m. I don't do after 9 p.m. That's a personal system. It's like, oh, she doesn't do after 9 p.m. Yeah. And you know what? You wouldn't want me after 9 p.m.
Oh, 1,000%.
You would not want me.
Same.
And so I think that like, if it's a vulnerable share that like people wouldn't want that,
yeah,
then it's easy to say no.
Yeah, vulnerable share and maybe even a little humor.
I try to be funny.
Yeah.
You know I try to be funny.
Yeah, well, it makes a huge difference if you're like, you know, and I think trying to teach your team too, it's one thing we're working on in my team right now is like teaching your team how to say no super graciously with boundaries and even a little bit of sense of humor. And I think that thing that you talked about, which is like a shadow influence blame. So it's like, I can't do this because system. I can't do this because promises to the business.
Yeah.
I can't do this because whatever.
Yes.
Then you're never the blame. They're not the blame. This other third party is the blame.
Yes. And one more thing I'll add there is we found a lot of success with like, you know what? Vanessa's on podcast sabbatical. We're going to add your podcast to a list so that if and when she decides to pick it back up or she has a book launch coming up, we can reach out to you.
Yeah.
And by the way, that happens.
Yeah.
You know, like when I have a launch, I'm like, you know what? Time for some podcasts. And then I like it because I actually have things to talk about, right? I have new research, I have new things. So adding a list really helps. Like even like I'll have people who are like, I'm in Austin for the week. Do you want to hang out? And I'm like, no. Because like it's a hard week. And so I'll be like, I'm so sorry. I'm in a low people season right now. But next time you come, please reach out. Like it's the next time.
Yeah.
So you can like create a list and like you have to be genuine about it. But like I think that also really helps people feel like it's not just no.
Love it.
End. So if you have speaking event requests or podcast requests, you can say, let me add you to a list when and if Cody can do it or I can do it. I would love to, but right now I am focusing 100% on the book launch or 100% on my people. Or like, I've also had friends who are like, you know, this literally happened to me last week. I have a little girls' dinner that I do, and I picked an expensive restaurant. And that was shame on me. I should have done that. And my friend said, I'm so sorry. I can't afford to eat out right now. It's been hard for the business.
Oh.
I was like, I am so sorry. Like, how did I do that? And so like, she was super honest with me and it was really transparent. And I was like, oh my gosh, let's go somewhere super easy. Let's do a picnic. And like, then we had a really great deep discussion. So like, even that, like being like, hey, I'm pinching pennies for the business. I can't go to Costa Rica right now with you.
Yeah.
Like, don't make an excuse. Like, say the truth.
Yep. That's so beautiful. Okay, it's tough out there in the world right now. We're getting communicated negatively everywhere.
Not my Instagram. We're very positive.
You are very positive on your Instagram and YouTube. But I think the newsletter, like if you're going to sign up for one thing, it should be like Science of People, the newsletter.
I'm very proud of my artisanal, organic, handcrafted newsletter.
It's really good.
That's how it feels.
And it's
like
long.
I'm making like.
So you should definitely go to Science of People. But what would you want to leave people with? To leave them on that little bit of a high note in a world that's a little negative.
Can I share a story?
I would love a story.
Okay. So this fundamentally changed how I interact, and it was about being likable. And one of the fears I have about awkwardness is that I'm deeply unlikable. Like that is something that I really fight with. And so I found this study, and what these researchers did is they wanted to figure out what makes someone likable. So he followed thousands of high school students across a variety of high schools, and he categorized them based on popularity. And then he looked at every variable he could think of. Athleticism, GPA, humor, attractiveness, like everything he could think of. And there was one predictor across all the grades and all the high schools. Yes, there were popular kids who were athletic or smart, but there was one that all the popular kids across all the schools had. They had the longest list of people that they liked.
Oh.
Meaning that if you want to be likable, all you have to do is go around aggressively liking people.
Oh, that's wild. That's so
And
good.
it totally reframed for me. Like, all I need to do is stop worrying about being likable or being impressive or being funny or being whatever. Actually, what I have to do is find ways to aggressively like the people that I'm with. Asking better questions, searching for good, assuming good, expecting good. And so what I would leave you with is, if you want to be more likable, you need to be hunting for good in others. In every conversation, in every email, in every discussion, it's like, how can I like this person more? That is such a better way to be internally, but it's also like a beautiful way to be externally.
That's so pretty. May I ask you sort of a personal question?
Of course.
Why were you worried about being profoundly dislikable? Where do you think that comes from?
I don't know. I think I think I'm different. You know, I think I'm a little different. Like, even you will say to me, like, Vanessa, like, you dress so weird. And I'm like, I know. You do. And I do.
You have 2 of the same dresses in 42 colors.
That's it. That's it. It's my Steve Jobs moment. Okay? Like, you know, I just am a little weird. Like, I do weird things. I have weird hobbies. I don't dress like other people. I never did. You know, I was like always the girl in school who, like, I had like the bowl cut and like the plaid vest, and all the other girls were wearing Juicy. Aging myself. You know what I mean? Like, I was listening to like Simon and Garfunkel while the girls were listening to like Backstreet. You know, like, I just like,
which means now you're cool.
Yeah.
Back then.
And so I think like I'm just a little odd. Like, I even do things differently than our friends do, you know? And so I think like that's why, is because for a long time, like that was a bad thing. And now I have people who love me for it. Like when I text you, you're like, what are you doing? And I know that you love me, even though I'm like, let's go do weird activity, insert weird activity.
That's interesting. So at one point, that made you really scared and nervous.
And it literally turned people off because I was like not with the right people. And when you're young, it's hard, you know, like a 14-year-old girl.
Too. Yeah. That was a nightmare.
So now if I have a friend that's like, you do what for fun? I'm like, oh, we're not, okay. Like, we're not going to be friends. That's cool.
Yeah.
Whereas like in a group of friends where they're like, well, good for you for doing that. I'm like,
yeah.
You know
what the other thing is too, is now you doing that, I think, has allowed our group of girlfriends to all bring weird things that we each want to do.
Everyone's been weirder.
We never would have done that.
No, for
now
sure.
You're actually kind of normal. You're a little basic now.
People have brought out, it brings out the weirdness in people, totally.
Yeah, which is a beautiful thing to think about. Like, if that thing inside of you is so weird, different, nobody's on board with it, what sort of magic do you shake out if you share it? Because I bet there's people that are even weirder than you.
Yeah, I'm waiting for you to be weirder.
Yeah, I mean, I know. All I do is business.
I know.
Business. I need some hobbies. I'm in the market for a hobby.
Like, we got to get some hobbies for you, but like not like shooting.
I know.
You know what I mean?
Is
like
true.
It's so hardcore. Like something like pottery.
Yeah, I know. You
like
always
darning.
bring me the worst hobbies. Like you're like what was the last wreath one you wanted me to do?
Yeah, succulent wreath.
Oh, that
They're
awful
beautiful.
Harry Potter thing we went to for 4 hours.
That was fun, and I brought chocolate frost.
You did not think it was fun.
You're Slytherin.
Yeah, I must be. Although
you know you are.
I score as Gryffindor.
No.
I think you're a secret Slytherin.
No, I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm a Ravenclaw.
Anybody who makes this
I'm a
secretly
Ravenclaw.
a Slytherin.
I'm a Ravenclaw.
Was that one of those flash
That was like
grenades or whatever?
Yeah. And we did go to Harry Potter Symphony Orchestra.
God, we are
And I
losing
did make us
all
dress
my
up, although
cool
you wouldn't
points
do it.
on the internet right now. I did it.
You didn't dress up.
Yes, I did. I don't remember what
You
I
wore
but I
one. You wore like a sock, and I was like, okay, it's under a boot. I wasn't gonna cape. Like I had like spell earrings on.
You did have spell earrings.
Brought everyone gifts.
But it's kind of endearing because how many scientists are like a Harry
Potter fan? I know.
I'm actually a huge Harry Potter fan. I just don't project. Keep it deep inside.
That's what I'm saying. We gotta be weirder.
Okay, fine. I'll bring it on the internet. Tell me if anybody else on here is Harry Potter fans.
And what your house is.
Oh yeah, and what your house is.
And
but
that you
don't
think
lie.
you know that Codie's Slytherin.
Okay, you can guess. What do you guys think I am? Am I Slytherin? Am I Gryffindor? I think we've actually found the real culprit here. And that's how we'll leave you on this podcast today. Thanks for coming, B. That's quite a close. I can't believe I shared all of that on the internet. I guess you guys could tell me in the comments which Harry Potter house you think I am. I have a clear house, so I hope you guys get this right. I think Vanessa was trying to dissuade you from what is the obvious choice. So maybe you can tell me what Harry Potter house you guys are in the comments, and you can tell me which one you think I am. The second thing I was thinking about with the close here is when it comes to communication, there's some correlation between the better you speak, the more money is in your bank account. And I wish I had understood this earlier. It's actually not my biggest strong suit. I'm pretty good at one to many, aka content. Vanessa talks about how she's really good one-to-one. And I think one of the keys in success in your bank account is how good are you like 1 to 5, 10, 15, 20, and your small teams. And so if you want to learn more about how to communicate well to small teams, let me know in the comments too, because I think we should put together a guide for how do we run meetings so that they don't suck and people actually want to attend to them. How do you communicate with your team even when things are scary and get them to do the things that you want them to do? Vanessa hit on a bunch of it today. I think we should go deeper, so hit me in the comments if you think so too. And in the meantime, I guess I'll end with this. You know, Maya Angelou has the famous saying that people won't remember the things that you said, but they will remember the way you made them feel. And if you remember nothing else, I think this is an opportunity for you to look yourself in the mirror and say, am I making people feel a certain way that they will remember and want to positively associate their next interaction with me? Maybe ask yourself that question. I'm going to do the same. All right, see you guys next time.
You got to get clear. In the next 3 months, how much do you want to make?
Today is probably the most tactical blueprint on making your first dollars and completely changing the way you interact with money. And it's with my friend Lewis Howes. He is a multiple-time New York Times bestselling author. He runs one of the biggest podcasts in the world called School of Greatness.
We all have a money story. Money doesn't heal who you are, it reveals who you are. And until you learn to heal, then it's just going to reveal.
It is therapy, but it's a different type.
It is. Most people have an emotional reaction with money.
47% of Americans die broke? And why?
You got to heal your money wounds. People may not want to hear this.
Hi, I'm Codie Sanchez, and this is the Big Deal podcast. I have struggled with this question for the better part of a decade. What do I tell people who don't have money, who have a bad relationship with money, who don't know how to go further with money? But I think today, for the first time ever, I just heard how to make money even when you have $0 and how to start exactly where you are with what you've got. I was shocked when I started learning about this book because I think most humans will not be able to make money, not because they don't have the tactics, but because you don't actually know how you feel about money, and thus money doesn't know how it feels about you. So if today you feel like you need more money in your life, you should absolutely listen to this episode. Grab a pen, grab a piece of paper, be prepared to pause it and take some notes, because this is going to be an episode you are going to want to listen to multiple times. I remember when I first met you, you immediately, I barely knew you, and you were like, hey, what do you need? How's that going?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, do that. Don't talk to that person, actually do this instead. So, like, do you think that half of your success is actually due from just you being this connector and giver? Is that the secret sauce?
Trying to help other people achieve their goals and dreams. That's what I've kind of done since the beginning. And that's one of my gifts or talents. And so I try to lean into that and be a generous giver of my talent. Some people might have a lot of money. That's their talent. Okay, how can I give more of that thing? And that's just my gift. And there's really, I think there's 4 different ways of living life with or without money. And the first way, and I've lived all 4 of these. And the first way is what none of us want to live, which is being broke financially and broke emotionally. When I was 24, 25 on my sister's couch, I had no money, 3 credit cards I was living off of, student loan debt, and I wasn't generating any money. So I was financially broken and kind of like spiritually, emotionally broken as well, because my dream had been crushed from getting injured as an athlete. My identity was gone. I was living on my sister's couch. I was like, I'm a grown man acting like a child, getting, taken care of by my sister.
You're too big for a couch, too.
Exactly. It was just like I was broken financially and emotionally, and I wasn't sure what I was going to do next. So I had no clear game plan. So it was just kind of wallowing in depression, victimhood, why me? No one wants to live that way. That's the first level. The second level is being financially broke still, but starting to feel more emotionally, spiritually abundant, free, excited. And I started to shift after about a year into thinking, okay, I need to get out of this rut. Let me find some coaches, some mentors. Let me start learning. Let me start overcoming fears. Let me start developing skills. And when I started getting momentum around that, it's like something unlocked inside of me where I had this passion, this drive, this excitement, this like, I can take on anything, this kind of fearlessness. And so I was starting to feel more rich inside, even though it wasn't paying off externally in the bank account yet. But eventually that momentum started to build into creating financial freedom. After a few years more after this, I remember I made my first $1 million. And it was like, wow, all this excitement, this hustle, this grind, like I was willing to work all day and night and do whatever it took and help as many people as possible. Say yes to every opportunity. I started generating money. And I was like, okay, now I'm making it. But a few years later, I was obsessive about making more and more. I was like, how do I grow? Every year's got to be bigger. Let's 10x every year. And there was a point after a few years where I lost the internal richness and I started to get more afraid, fearful. I started to feel like everyone was now trying to take advantage of me as opposed to we are working together. People were coming out of the woodwork from middle school who saw I had money and now asking me for money. So it didn't feel good after a while. And it didn't make me feel, it didn't solve all my emotional problems having money. So it was almost like a more challenging thing for me because I had this money. I thought it would make me happier, and it actually wasn't solving my emotional problems. So I felt more emotionally bankrupt, even though I had money financially. And that's a big challenge because you think, okay, let me go make more, build more, become bigger, better, and it's still not filling me up emotionally. That's a scary place to be. And so this is the third level. And I was living in LA here, I don't know, 5 miles away in an apartment building during 2000, 2001, a really nice apartment building where there were a lot of billionaires, millionaires, celebrities, athletes, all that stuff. And I was driving back one day from a road trip, and there was a white tent in the parking lot in the valet. And I said to the valet attendant, I was like, someone didn't jump, did they? Kind of just joking. And he said, yes, someone just jumped like an hour ago and committed suicide from the building I was living in with all these billionaires and millionaires. And I was like, how could someone jump in this building? This is like the nicest building in LA. And I later found out who that person was, who was worth $500 million. A big movie producer, an executive. But for whatever reason, he wasn't feeling rich emotionally. He had all the money in the world, but something was off internally that caused him to not love himself, not accept where he was at in his life. And that, separation of having so much externally, but feeling broken internally can cause a lot of pain for people. Having money can solve money problems, but it can't solve self-worth problems necessarily.
Yep.
You can be a net worth millionaire, but be bankrupt, and not be a self-worth millionaire. And the goal is to go from level 0, level 1 to level 4, which is becoming financially free and also becoming emotionally free, spiritually free, rich abundantly internally, feeling peace. And most people are stressed with money right now. They're uncertain with the economy. They don't know where their money's coming from next month, if they're going to have a job or not, if their business is going to collapse or not. They don't understand. There's so much fear and anxiety. And so they're crippled by the fear internally. And when we can set ourselves free emotionally around money in general, we're going to be money's not going to have power over us. Whether we're making more or making less, we're still going to feel good with us. Mm-hmm. And that's the whole reason I wanted to write this book.
So true, because increasingly I think peace is the new rich, and everyone has everything besides peace.
Yeah.
If you think about it in the U.S., there are certainly those of us who are still struggling with hunger, certainly those of us that are still in a place where we have massive scarcity. But like people dying of pure starvation in the U.S., not that common.
Yeah.
And so we have a lot, and yet we feel more anxious and like we have less than ever. Mm-hmm. And at first I thought you could just fix it by all of us making more money.
Exactly.
That was my tactic.
Yeah.
I'm like, let's just go. Let's teach more people how to make more money.
You can solve money problems.
You can, but you realize very quickly that, the guy at the top is oftentimes just as unhappy, or maybe more so, because he thought on the way up that he was chasing happiness.
Exactly. And I think we talked about this before. It's like, this is not like a judgment or anything here, but it's when is enough enough? And we can only strive for more and play the game of, I'm going to make $10 million, $100 million, $1 billion, cool, whatever. It's fun. But is it doing it because I don't feel enough?
Yeah.
Or because I don't feel peaceful and I need to make more? Or is it doing it because this is what I love and I want to make a big impact on the world, but I feel good with me whether I make it or I don't? And I think it's getting to that place of being driven by a vision so big or so exciting for you, but not because you need to validate your self-worth.
Yeah, it's a great point. I mean, I think the love of the game is why a lot of us continue to do it, but it's brutal. I mean, what would you say to like a young man out there listening to this right now who kind of feels a little lost, destitute, not making money, maybe not even meeting other people, not in a relationship and married like you newly are, and isn't sure where to go next to get even to from level 1 to level 2, just to start making money? Like, what are the changes you made to do that? And what would a young, broke dude who got a chance to talk to Lewis, what would you tell him?
I'd probably say 3 things. The first 3 things that came to mind, I would get a physical practice first, like really master your body, because if you're not feeling confident within yourself, you haven't mastered a routine of rigor or discipline or consistency around some type of working out. And when you master your physical health, or at least you're on a journey of mastering it, doesn't mean you have to have a six-pack or be shredded or anything like that. But if you have a consistent program with that, 30 to 60 minutes a day, you're going to feel more empowered because you're taking back responsibility of your own agency. Second thing I would say is find a spiritual mentor. When you're lost, you need a spiritual guide in your life. And if you aren't able to tap directly to God or your belief system of why I'm here, then lean on someone you admire. Find someone you admire. I don't care if it's a sports coach, a business leader who follows practices you admire, or a pastor or something like that. Find someone that you admire who is living a life of high values and integrity. Because ultimately, you want to be living that life. You don't want to be living out of integrity because it may be fun for a while, but you'll always hurt people along the way and ultimately hurt yourself along the way.
By the way, if you're building a business right now and you're stuck or you want to break out to the next level, maybe you're not where you want to be today. Believe me, I've been there many, many times. I want you to know I got you. We help thousands of business owners a year figure out how to scale to the next level. One of my favorite mentors said, every level you have, there's just a higher level and a higher devil. And so if you've been in business for a while and you're doing 6, 7, or 8 figures, there's probably one thing standing in the way of your next level. That's why we host growth and scale workshops 4 times a year throughout the year in Austin, in Miami, in San Diego, and you may be a fit to come to one of them. If it sounds interesting to you to get help on how to scale your business to the next level, you can reach out to my team at the link in the show notes. We believe in you builders, but we also believe that it's a lonely road and you can't do it by yourself.
And then the third thing I would say is to really study and learn about money and make money feel relaxing to you. Most people stress out about it. I stressed about it so much because I didn't understand it. And there's still levels that I don't understand today. It's not like I'm a money expert. I'm not an investing expert or budgeting expert. I've learned how to master these things, but it's more about learning how to have conversations around money where it's fun and you're not fearful around it. Because when you're fearful around something, that thing has power over you. Yep. It triggers you emotionally in your nervous system, and you're afraid to even just tell people your money situation. Most people talk about their sexual intimacy more than they'll talk about their money situation. And if you're willing to have conversations around money and just be more flexible and flowing around these conversations, make it more common, you're going to allow the flow for money to come to you. When we are in fear around something, why would we want that thing to come to us? If we're psychologically, emotionally afraid of it because we don't understand it, we're ultimately going to push it away. We're ultimately going to block the flow of abundance financially to us when we are in fear of that thing. It's an energy flow, and you have to be willing to receive money and be ready and prepared to receive more.
It's actually fascinating. I've never thought about that before, that people are more willing to talk about their sexual intimacy than money.
Yes.
It's actually really true. Some people are willing to talk about money, but only once you have a ton of it at the top. Mm-hmm. And then
people say they don't even reveal what their money or how much they spend.
True. It's like somewhere in the mid, there's some like amount of bravado, about, and then you like hit the real money amount. And you're like, oh, whoops, that's not cool anymore. I shouldn't talk about it. But that's fascinating. Like you've got, more power to however you want to talk about your sexual intimacy, but you've got entire podcasts like Call Her Daddy or whatever. It's really a lot about sex. And there's nobody coming on here talking about money except almost in a shame-based way. Like I like Caleb Hammer, but being like, this was dumb, this was dumb, this is dumb, this is dumb. As opposed to any sort of vulnerability around it. That's fascinating.
Yeah, I just think making it more of a common practice around, hey, this is where I'm at, this is where I'm trying to get to, and being open to having the conversations where it flows more easily.
And is it more like what would that look like in practice? Like Jesse Itzler, for instance, I remember him saying that he would go to the Beverly Wilshire and he would sit in the lunchroom and he would order like the cheapest thing that was on the menu. And the reason he would do it is because it would allow him to sit around all these really rich people. And then he would ask them, like, he would be like, hey, I don't have a lot of money yet. Yep. I'm on my way up. How did you get here? Like, What do you do for a living? And he credits that with his creation of NetJets.
100%. Yeah. And it's just having proximity to those conversations. And I think having them more frequently, even with the people in your life, even if people don't have money, just say, hey, let's talk about this. What are we working on today? What What are you struggling with? How much money do you have in debt? Like just talking about it, making it more commonplace. Because the more comfortable you are talking about something, I think the easier it is to go create that thing.
And I really like it because there's a lot of books today talking to us about why money's not important. You don't need money. Money doesn't matter. And I think that happens a lot during recessionary periods. Those books do really, really well. Why? Because you already don't have it. So if somebody can validate that you don't need it, you're like, that sounds good. I'm on board. Also, rich people suck, But,
Exactly.
But if you can write a book that is instead like, hey, you're not net worthed by your net worth.
Yeah.
That's not your self-worth. But you can be okay pursuing it, I think is really, really powerful.
100%. I think if you want to pursue more money, like pursue as much money as you want. It's where is that pursuit coming from? Is it from a need to prove people wrong? Is it coming from a need because you want to validate yourself that you're worthy or you're better than? You're always going to be creating from a sense of scarcity rather than abundance. And when you create from abundance, a emotionally rich place, money can come and go and it's not as stressful. Yeah. There was a company about 1.5 years ago. It was so funny because as I was doing the research for this book and I was writing this book, I hadn't finished it yet. And I was like, I'm still not ready to like finish this book. And for whatever reason, around this time, there was a company that essentially took $1 million from me and that didn't pay me. It was meant to pay me and it didn't pay me. And for weeks, I was like, when are they going to pay? What's going on? It feels like they were stealing from me, right? And I was kind of a mess. I was like, it's $1 million. It's not a small thing. And I felt more taken advantage of. It was more the act of abuse and taking advantage of. And I have stories of feeling taken advantage of as a kid and feeling abused, from sexual abuse to people stealing money from as a kid, all these different things, picked on. And I go, this is perfect timing, actually. After like 2 months of stressing about this, I was like, this is all happening for me because this situation triggered a wound inside of me of abuse, of being taken advantage of a not fairness, right? And it's the exact lesson I still haven't graduated yet. And so after 3 months of this, I finally was like, you know what? They may not pay. It doesn't mean I have to love it, but I get to learn that I'm not tied down by what this company does or doesn't do, that I have an abundant sense inside of me. I can go create this money as well. It doesn't mean I have to like this and be like, yay, this was fun. But right now, this has power over me. It's consuming me. Yeah. And I'm living in scarcity. That scarcity is holding me back from being creative, resourceful, and making better decisions. And so once I started doing some healing work around that, I released it and let it go, and I stopped worrying about it. They eventually paid me. And I was like, okay, great. But now this is a lesson, knowing that when I'm in scarcity or living in fear around something or frustration around something, it's not going to feel good. I'm not feeling abundant when I do this. Mm-hmm. So how can I shift the energy? It doesn't mean I still have to handle it and take action and do certain things, but how can I shift my energy to know I'm going to be resourceful in other ways and I'm going to be okay, whether this money comes or they take it from me. And I think that's been a big lesson for me, is learning how to feel peaceful no matter what. It doesn't mean there's not going to be challenge or adversity, but how can I not let something rob me of my peace?
Hard, but really important.
And again, I keep going back to these millionaires and billionaires who are just overly stressed, overly worked, that are on drugs, suicidal, or committing suicide. What's the point of having all the money if you don't love yourself, if you don't have peace? What's the point then? It doesn't feel like a rich life to me.
Yeah. It's interesting because the hard part, I think, is what is the healing practice to that, right? And in my case, I know when I have something that happens that I don't like. One thing happened this morning. It was literally like, you know what my panic words are, Louis? If you ever text me, hey, we need to talk, instant panic. I don't know I don't know who texted me that originally and something terrible happened.
It triggered some wound.
I just have I go, oh my God, they're leaving me. We're bankrupt. I don't know. Worst case scenario immediately. Oh, every time. And the only way that I've found to get around that at like my level, not at the level I want to be at, is most people kind of hide from tough conversations. And I usually, when I get those, say, hey, Like,
Let's lean in.
let's talk.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, pick up the phone. Let's have a conversation. What do you want to talk about? Or if somebody's like, can we talk, but later today or next week? No, let's do it right now. If you're important enough to like mention the talk, we probably should have the talk. So that kind of helps because usually it's never as bad as you think it is.
Yes.
And so you can clear it out. But what else do you do to get past this scarcity mindset? What are your practices?
You got to heal your money wounds. And it may sound a little woo-woo, it may sound a little weird, and people may not want to hear this. But we all have a money story.
Yep.
Based on how we grew up, whether it be our parents teaching us a certain way, either literally speaking a certain way or their energy. My parents fought all the time. It's my memory. I know it wasn't every day, but it felt like frequently. And when they weren't fighting, they weren't showing each other love. The only time they'd show each other love is after a fight, they'd kind of like hug or kiss barely and like try to mend it. But then it was just like a cycle my whole life. And a lot of this was around not having enough money, stresses around money. So I, in my nervous system, didn't feel emotionally safe with money conversations. So I have these money wounds based on a money story. I also got into a season for about 1.5 years where I would steal at grocery stores, like candy bars and stuff when I was like 10, 11. I had kids steal from me. And there's just kind of all these money wounds, these money memories that creates a money story inside of my mind and also my nervous system. You have money story. Your husband has his unique money story. And that creates our money style. How we spend, how we save, how we think about money, how we talk about money. It creates a money personality style that we are today. And until we heal our money wounds and take ourselves to money therapy, which sounds kind of weird, and mend those wounds, we'll continue to live in a certain personality style and create a strategy around money based on that energetic nervous system response. And that's going to create money, a career, a business from that energy until we shift it and heal it. And it doesn't mean it's good or bad, right or wrong. It just means that's how your personality style is. I know people that never look at their bank account. They just spend based on their money story and their style. I know other people that look obsessively daily and they save every penny because they're worried for whatever reason based on their money story and style. And here's an example I like to give people, and we'll do this with you. Imagine, Cody, that there was money was a person.
Okay.
The idea of money, the representation of all the money in the world was in one person. And that person walked through the door right now and stood right here. What would your initial thought, feeling, or response be if money walked in and stood right in front of you?
Be stoked.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm picturing Elon Musk because I think most of the money does live there. Yeah. I think I'd be like, sweet. I get to like, what's the deal? I want to know what's going on over there.
Okay. Cool.
I think that's my reaction.
You'd be excited. You'd be stoked. You'd be curious.
Yeah.
You'd be open-minded, right?
Yeah.
I've asked this to so many different people. I asked this on Mark Manson's podcast. And you know Mark Manson,
Yeah,
the
I love
solar.
Mark.
Yeah. And I go, money walks in the door. What's your first response? He goes, that guy's a douchebag. I was like, really? I go, tell me why. That's his initial response based on his whole life history and a money story. And this guy's a multi-millionaire and makes tons of money with his books and show and everything. But he goes, yeah, he's kind of a stuck-up douchebag. And I don't know if I'd really want him here. And I go, okay, just notice your response. I asked someone in their late 20s, you're at a restaurant, money walks in the door. What do you do? And they said, I would get out of my seat and go to the bar and hide. Then I would start gossiping about money behind its back like it's in the room. Then if it came up to me, I would act like I was its friend. Then I would use and abuse it when I needed money, and I would ghost it if it ever reached out to me. And I was like, that's a very descriptive response and seems very unhealthy. And they were like, yeah, it is. And that's how it shows up in their life, based on their money story and based on their money personality style. That's how money shows up for them. And it doesn't make it right or wrong, good or bad, but is that relationship with money supporting you? With you, it sounds like, man, I'd be stoked if money walked in here. I'd be like, hey, what's up? How you doing? Let's be friends. That's what it sounds like for you.
Yeah.
You'd be more like free, flowing, open. You know, I talked to someone else and they said, if money walked in the room, I'd give it a big hug and say, come, sit down, let's chat. It's just like, it doesn't make it good or bad, right or wrong. It's just, Is your relationship supporting you in your daily actions around money, in your career, in your business, how you make decisions based on your relationship with it? And when people can start to reflect, I give a ton of exercises in the book on reflecting on your money story to see why you have this money personality style now and to see what your personal relationship with money is, just to assess and see, is this serving me in my life? Is it bringing me more joy or more pain? Yeah. And that's it. This is not about how to be a mega millionaire or billionaire, because that's the key to life. Yeah. This is about, can you live a rich, abundant life inside of you? When you do, it really doesn't matter how much money you do or don't have. It doesn't matter if you have $1 million or 20 million. It's like you feel good with you no matter what externally is happening. Then the money is just an additional bonus. It's like, wow, I can do cool things with this. I can help more people. I can give more. I can buy a home. I can do stuff. But you're not living your life based on external validation. It's about internal feelings.
I love doing stuff. I think actually, you know what would be really cool? I would be so curious what would happen, Louis, if you're listening right now. I want you to play a little game with us, and we'll see if anybody will do it.
Yeah.
I want you to tag us in an Instagram story where you describe what your money style is and what your money story is live. Like, I want to know what the story, and just tag Louis and I. Mm-hmm. I'm so curious to hear what people's immediate reaction is when they see money walk in the door.
That's it. Yeah. And your money story and your money style equals your strategy, how you show up with money in your life today.
Okay, wait. So I want to back up. So first you've got your money story, which is like, if money walked in the door, how would you react?
Well, your money story is more of like all of the memories and wounds that you have around money. It could be good things. It could be negative things that you remember growing up. That is like, when I grew up, my dad and mom said, like, money doesn't grow on trees. And they were stingy and they didn't give me an allowance and I had to work hard for my money and it was all about hard work or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Or it could have been like, man, my parents taught me that money comes freely to me when you add value.
Yeah.
And so I learned how to just be a value-driven individual. And I learned that money flows abundantly and it doesn't like consume me. You know, whatever your personality or your story is around money.
And you write down.
You write those down. What are those memories? What are those memories that you can think of? What are the painful ones, the good ones? Mix it all together. That's your story. Write those down. Then think about your money personality style. How do you spend money? How do you save money? Do you invest your money or do you just put it in a savings account? Do you not know what your money is because you got so much debt that you're afraid and ashamed to look at it? You know, a lot of people are just like, when I had credit card debt, I didn't want to look at it. Yeah. So I was like ashamed of it. I was like, I just want this to go away. And so I had to really start taking a look at things differently and say, oh, why am I avoiding money? Why am I avoidant of this? I was afraid of it. So I was strategically doing things in life based on my style and my story. And this whole, if money was a person and it walked in the room, that's more just to see what your relationship with money is. If it was a person, because I believe money is it's an intimate emotional thing. Most people have an emotional reaction with money. And emotions come from human beings. And so if you have an emotional reaction to something, imagine if it was a person. When you receive money, are you grateful and appreciative of the money you receive? Or are you like, gosh, stressed out, anxious, and just like frustrated with it? Mm-hmm. And imagine if you were always frustrated with a person in your life, how do you think they would feel? They wouldn't enjoy it. Imagine if you were never appreciative of them. You would never express gratitude towards them, especially an intimate partner. They'd probably leave you after a period of time. Or the relationship would not work. And if you thought of money when it came and when it left as an intimate relationship, and you said, it's weird as it may sound, money comes to me, and if you said, thank you so much for being with me, where would you like to go? What do you want to do? It's weird thinking of it as a person.
I'm kind of into it.
If you're $1, $100,000, $1 million comes in your bank account, and you just say, thank you, money, for being here, where do you want to go? Do you want me to give you away today? Do you want me to use part of you to buy something for myself? Do you want me to invest in you and put you in somewhere? Do you want to go in the stock market? Do you want me to put you in real estate? Should I hire someone and help them in their life and their dreams with your money today? Where do you want to go? and almost asking it, role playing. As weird as this sounds, I feel like you'll have a better relationship with money when you invest and appreciate the money that comes to you.
You know what's weird is it is woo-woo, but I think that if you don't do things like this, you can have all the tactics in the world and you will still be broke. And, what's fascinating, how did you come up with this?
Studying, asking, 12 years of research, asking all the wealthy people in the world that I knew.
And all your notebooks while you
and
read
all the
podcast.
therapists that I've interviewed and all the healing work I've done on intimacy and relationships. And I realized from some of my biggest episodes around money, and I just would ask people, what's your biggest challenge with money? What's your biggest fear? What's holding you back? What's blocking you? What's your limiting beliefs? And it always came back to this relationship with money. And I know this because I had a bad relationship with it for a long time. And it took years to kind of heal and learn these things and figure out, how can I feel emotionally free with money? Because I don't want money to have power over me.
Yeah.
And even a year and a half ago, I thought I was free with money, and something triggered me. Something hit the emotional, psychological wound of stealing my money. And it made me furious. And I realized it still has power over me.
Yeah.
I'm still not free with money emotionally. And this relationship of me and money is not good still. Maybe in certain areas, but not every area. And I'm sure there's more levels for this. It's not like I've mastered this. This is about me exploring how to set myself emotionally free and have tools that if I ever go back into pain, how do I create freedom quicker?
That's so good.
And again, I just know so many people that I'd ask questions to about what are their struggles around money? What are their fears, their concerns, their insecurities? People are living in fear around money. And that fear is blocking their abundance. It's blocking their ability to earn more and feel free with the money they're earning.
Yeah, and even to learn about how to make money. Because I think a lot of the reasons I go straight to tactics, because apparently I'm buddies with money. I don't know why, but I like him.
You walked in, you're like, hey, let's hang out.
Sup, what you got? But that's why I want to go to tactics immediately, because I'm like, oh, tell me. But
most people can't even go there because they don't have a relationship with it.
They cannot.
Toxic. Their whole relationship is broken.
100%.
So how are you going to do tactics if you can't even be in a room with money?
Yeah, 100%.
If you got an intimate partner in front of you and you don't feel emotionally safe to have an open, vulnerable conversation as a tactic, you've got to do the healing work on you first before you can actually look someone in the eyes and say, hey, you hurt me. Hey, this upset me. I want to talk about it calmly, consciously. Instead of, you hurt me. It's like when you are so reactive or fearful and wounded, you respond based out of a wound, not out of wisdom, not out of like conscious communication, not out of clarity. It doesn't mean everything's going to be comfortable in your life. These are about, you're going to have uncomfortable conversations. But how can you have those uncomfortable conversations like you do from a place of, when someone says that we need to talk, you try to lean into it right away. It doesn't mean it's easy, but you consciously lean in and say, what can we do to make this better?
100%.
You don't avoid it.
No.
You don't run from it. You do the uncomfortable thing, but you try to mend it faster.
Yeah. But it's a great point because, what would be sweet? I don't know. You don't have this in the book, I don't think, but like, I would love a quiz on personality types with money.
Oh, I've got a whole chapter with a quiz.
No, but you don't have where you can go and click and say
got a
you're
quiz.
this on your website?
Yes.
What's the website?
Well, it's in the book and I've got the code in here. I have to find the actual link
so you
for
gotta
you.
you
MakeMoneyEasyBook.com
Okay, perfect.
is the website, but there's a whole
So you
chapter
buy the book.
with a quiz you can take here.
And is there
and
an
it tells you your
avatar?
personality style. Yes.
Okay, so what are you?
Well, I'll tell you this right now. Let me find this page so I can tell the exact process of
Tell
this.
me when you're ready, and I'll tell a story in the meantime. So I remember I was speaking at a women's event.
Yes.
And it was a finance women's event with a bunch of kind of pretty wealthy women, all in leadership roles. And this is when I realized that a book like yours was really needed, but I had no answers to this question then.
Yep.
I was going to go on and speak about how to do asset investing at a high level, alternative investing, blah, blah, blah. But first they had this woo-woo chick in Austin come on and talk
Who
about...
was it? Do you remember?
I don't. I remember a lot of feathers and there
hat,
were
big hat.
beads. There was a
Yeah.
hat, and I was judgy. I was immediately judgy,
Yes.
and yet this woman came on and she blew my mind. She had us all close our eyes, She said, in the audience, everybody close your eyes. And I want you to visualize money. And I want your body to become a visual representation of your feeling of money.
I love it.
And so immediately,
Very woo.
yeah, very woo. And I'm like opening one eye slightly, but my hands like went up. I was like, money, I want it. I like it. And I kind of thought that would be everybody. And she said, now freeze, keep your eyes closed. Now open your eyes. And she had us look around.
And how many people have their hands up?
Oh, maybe like me and one other chick.
Wow.
And almost everybody else was, some of them might have been like this or like this or like this. And that's when I realized, whoa, in this area, I'm messed up in many, many, many areas. But in this one, this is such a wound for people. And if we don't heal the wound, then we definitely cannot apply, a new foundation. We can't apply growth. We can't extend.
Exactly. It's got to heal the wound. Yeah. And you were like free. You were like, I'm ready, Yeah,
and don't get me wrong. I still freak out about money sometimes.
But most people are blocked. You have a different thing. You know,
it was just I want too much of it. This is what you did to me on your podcast.
You have a different thing where it's like I was like, "What's enough?" And you're like, "I don't know." Like you're like, "There is not enough." You're like, "I need it all," and it's not a right or wrong, good or bad conversation, but it's just why.
Yeah,
it doesn't make it wrong. Where is that coming from? That's it. And then you held back the tears. You're like, "I'm not going to talk about this. I'm going to close down right now." I was like, okay, cool.
You did. You're like, what would it look like if you were enough? And I was like, shut up, Lewis.
Like, next topic.
Yeah, stop trying to make me emotional.
And it doesn't mean you don't have to reach your ultimate potential and go for what you want to go for. I'm not saying that, but where is it coming from? And, I don't know if you've reflected on that at all, but it's like, I think your money, I can't remember what was enough for you. You're like, I want 100 million. No, I want $1 billion or something. I was like,
just
okay.
kept going bigger.
Why? And is your number still $1 billion or is it bigger now?
Well, I think some of the stuff that's helped me lately, we've talked about this, is that I want a family and I want.
Yeah, it's hard to.
Yeah. And I have to make space for that. And there's got to be another priority.
Trad wife.
Yeah, I want to be a trad wife.
Trad wife.
I know this.
Hashtag trad wife life.
Oh my God, I want to be in sundresses, just prancing around like a happy little mother.
Cabin, with the little.
That's why I judged the chick. I wanted the hat and the beads. Full circle,
did.
probably.
You wanted to feel emotionally free.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's hard to be going for $1 billion business brand and be in your heart all day.
Yeah.
And be emotionally open and have flexibility and space for chaos with kids running around and just being open to cleaning diapers and feeding and just listening to your kids gobbledygook or whatever when they're kids.
Yeah.
You have to create that emotional space, that emotional freedom in order to be present. And if you're always in your head of we got to grow and build, you don't have space for that.
Yeah.
And it's not a good or bad, right or wrong thing. It's what do you want? What's your vision?
Yeah, and what's your season?
And $1 billion, what is that going to do for you?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, buy you more planes than $100 million? I don't know.
Probably
cool.
Not a big difference between.
And then what? You're going to give a lot of it away or buy more sports teams or invest in cool stuff. But it's for what? To manage more problems?
Yep, that's very true.
And at the end of the day, what is it that you want to feel? What is $1 billion going to make you feel when you hit that?
Higher level, higher devils.
And so for me, it's what I'm hearing your heart say, and maybe it's the season of life or I don't know, clock ticking or whatever it might be, or you just feel okay, I